Good morning. I decided I wanted to cover this because last night, hello, Anne. I see you making dog food. I decided I want to cover this, but we're not going to just cover the live. I want to play a few videos before the trial. And that's just because of what we were talking about yesterday. We were talking about risk factors. Sorry, I just got a notification on my Facebook, on my cell phone. We were talking about risk factors yesterday, and boy, oh boy, I thought we would cover this because when you look back, which I was doing last night, at the interviews of Nick Reiner and his dad, Rob Reiner, and the fact that he had struggled, like it was known that he struggled with addiction, and specifically meth, we were talking about yesterday on this live. I thought it was pretty relevant because every true crime case, while this is not a missing persons case, every true crime case has lessons and things we can learn. And I definitely want to go through that with y'all this morning. So Anne's here. Sorry for the late notice. Or lack of notice. I was up late last night and I just woke up and thought I want to do this. So wasn't planned. It's just something I really want to do because again, the markers were there. I don't know if you've seen some of the videos of him that have been covered recently. But let's get into them. I'm just going to see if I can figure this out. Who's in the chat? Who's here? Say hi. Say hi. Let me go back to. I'm going to add a media slot here. Here we go. We're going to keep this up here in the corner so we don't miss it, okay? And hey, welcome in to the new people in the bushes. Hello, hello, hello. You're back, Anne. Nice to see you, honey. Nice to see you. Let's go through. We're going to keep the live going on in the background so we don't miss the trial. But I do want to see if I can add. Can I add? Can I add? There I am. Okay. Let's just see if Leanne can figure this out here because I want this to stream in the back. And I want to share. I don't know if I can, truthfully. I eat bushes. Well, I would like you to be polite to me, okay? There's no eating in the bushes over here. Okay, I'm going to put this in the background on my channel and show you some of the things that I was watching last night cuz they're pretty relevant. They're pretty relevant. So let's look at this one first. Let's look at this one is wild. This is Dr. G going through an analysis of the interview that they did years ago with his father. It's wild. Dr. G goes through, he's a body language expert, and we're gonna cover we're gonna look at this, and then when the trial comes on, we're gonna cover it. But whoa, boy, were the signs ever there? Look at this and tell me this is not a scary man. Watch this.
Here. I'm a clinical and forensic psychologist as well as a body language expert, and today we're going to be analyzing the behavior and body language of Rob Reiner and his son Nick Reiner. Before we get started with this, a couple of quick things. One, I wanted to make sure you know this is not a psychological evaluation of any kind. These are just my opinions. In addition to that, I do want to remind you to like and subscribe if you want to see more content just like this. All right, let's go. Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle Singer Reiner, were found fatally stabbed on December 14th. Their son, Nick Reiner, is the primary suspect and has since been arrested. What's been reported is that Nick Reiner has an extremely extensive history of substance abuse as well as some mental health issues, What we're going to be talking about today is an interview from 2016. Rob Reiner and his son Nick Reiner did an interview together. What we're going to be doing is analyzing some of the body language. So keep in mind, as we look at this, this is not recent. This is from about 9 years ago. All right, let's just jump right in.
I mean, just watch, though. This guy is said to have been a meth addict. Schizophrenia is going to come out in one of the videos we're going to watch here soon as well. And it's just wild to me.
What was
just
the
look at
toughest
the
for
eye
you? What do you think,
expression.
It wasn't.
Because he's following body language, but I want you to look at how empty his eyes are and how detached he is. I mean, I'm not a medical doctor, but I would deem, that he is, psychotic, like Brian Kogerberg. Like there's nothing there.
Very tough. I mean, it was pretty nice experience for me.
And just so you know what this is an AOL Build interview from 2016 where they're interviewing him about the movie Being Charlie, which was loosely based on Nick Reiner's experiences with drugs and so forth.
What was the toughest for you?
Hey, Lloyd Lemma. Hey, YouTuber.
It wasn't very tough. I mean, it was
Evan.
pretty nice experience for me. I don't really think it was like tough at all.
Really?
So I think most people would watch this and recognize that he seems a little bit awkward. If you listen closely the way he speaks, he misses certain words, which suggests that he's in the feeling part of his brain. He's probably pretty anxious as he's doing this right now. But he's somebody that we're going to see appears a lot more anxious than Rob Reiner does.
It was like tough at all.
Really?
I mean, of course it was a little bit, but
I mean, we did get into fights over things, but ultimately it forced us to make the film better.
Now, the first thing I want you to pay attention to is the body posture. Look at how Rob Reiner is leaning in subtly. We typically do that when we feel connected to somebody, when we feel close to somebody, if we feel affection for somebody. And as you can see, he's slightly leaning in towards Nick Reiner. He's not leaning away. Leaning away would mean he maybe feels angry or feels upset or feels distant. Now, interestingly, we don't see Nick Reiner leaning towards Rob.
But look at the look in Nick Reiner's face. Like he's literally, let me see if I can blow this up. He's literally like looking deadpan. Like there's, just keep watching. It's wild. It's actually very concerning. They had to know that this was beyond a mental health issue,
Reiner,
like it's not your average depression, in other words.
Surprises me a little bit because he seems uncomfortable in this situation. So you would think that he might actually lean in towards Rob Reiner to get some more support because he's his father. Let's go back. We're going to look at a little bit more of this.
To make the film better. I mean, we get into issues, and I would see, he would.
I talk about him being uncomfortable. He's fidgeting with his microphone, doesn't seem really know where to put his eyes. So Nick Reiner seems very uncomfortable in situations like this.
The whole process for me, I can just speak for myself. It did make me understand him a lot more, and I think it made me a better father. Hopefully, it did. I don't know, but I
Rob Reiner's being very emphatic. He really does feel what he's saying.
So just to back it up, Rob Reiner is one of the Hollywood gurus of filming, right? He has produced a massive amount of TV shows and films that have been, super popular over the years. And he did a documentary about his son, Nick, the young man to his left, wearing the glasses, the man who slit his throat a few days ago, along with his own mother's throat. And this is an interview that they did, 9 years ago, I think Dr. G explains, of them talking about the process of producing the film, in which they discuss Nick's drug addiction in the film. That's the premise here. And this is the interview they did when they were talking about the production of the film that talked about his son, Nick, with the glasses, drug addiction. I would only learn after watching another video that it was meth. Keep listening.
Means what he's saying. He believes that he understands him better, that he's a better father now.
Tragedy.
Whereas Nick Reiner, as he was saying that, started looking up, started looking around, totally disconnected from it. Typically, what we would expect in a situation like this is that he would be looking at his father, nodding his head in agreement. Typically, in these kinds of situations, that's what we see. We're seeing a total disconnection from the feelings about this, a disconnection from his father in the situation, even though his father's explaining, hey, I understand him better now. So the body language between the two of them is pretty strange, actually.
Him a lot more, and I think it made me a better father. Hopefully it did. I don't know, but I think that.
So as you can see, Nick Reiner was moving his microphone around. I'm going to go back so you can watch that again. But that means he has something to say about this. He has a response to this, but he's not asserting it very dominantly. He's not coming out and saying, hey, I have something I want to say about that, or he's not interrupting his father to say it. He's very subtly doing this, and he may feel very uncomfortable asserting himself. So we're seeing so much discomfort already. Watch this right here.
Make me understand him a lot more, and I think it made me a better father. Hopefully it did. I don't know, but I think that, and you'll see it in the film. What happens is, you know, if your kid is going through rough.
So right now, everything's saying that Nick Reiner's uncomfortable. Switching hands now with the microphone. He's gripping his chair. He's blinking slowly. We close our eyes when we think about things that we don't like. So it's bringing something up for him that he doesn't like. I don't know if it's that he doesn't like hearing his father talk about this. I don't know if it brings back old memories, but this does not seem to be a pleasant experience for him at all.
What happens is, you know, if your kid is going through rough times, you know, the parent your main job is to keep your child safe. So I would do anything. I felt at a loss. So I would do anything that, as we say in the film, anybody with a desk and a diploma, I would.
You're seeing Rob Reiner put his arm in Nick Reiner's space. He feels close to him. He wants to express this. He really is feeling what he's talking about. And I think that he wants to support his son. I think he feels close in these moments. We're not seeing that reciprocated at all yet.
His son's just staring off into space, right? There's just zero attachment.
Listen to them, and the whole idea of tough love, and you have to be a certain way. And it's not my nature. It's not the way I am built, but I went and did that, you know, and I think that.
So much discomfort here. You saw him like he was getting ready to say something and then touched his face. People stroke their face when they're feeling uncomfortable. It's a way to soothe ourselves. So he's having to do a lot to soothe himself right now. And maybe he's someone that doesn't feel comfortable asserting his voice. Maybe he's somebody that feels like everybody talks over him and doesn't realize that he's doing so.
If you're just coming in, we're going to cover the trial, but I wanted to go through while we're waiting because it's not until 15 minutes from now to cover this, along with a few other videos that showed his past, his addictions, you know, what happened here. But we're going to stay tuned until the trial starts in 15 minutes.
Such a minimal job of letting anybody know that he has something to say.
Tough love, and you have to be a certain way. And it's not my nature. It's not the way I am built, but I went and did that, you know, and I think that, you know, at the end of the day, I know.
If he was to expect his father to know that he had something to say, typically what we would do is we would look at somebody else, and if we stare at them, they'll know, hey, he wants to say something.
Sorry, everybody. I did not give any notice. I just woke up and decided I was doing this. Sorry. I'm sorry.
He's not giving off any body language outside of somebody like me who reads body language, that he is trying to say something. He's struggling to get it out. Most people aren't going to notice that. And so it's very possible that he's believed for a long time. And once again, this is just a possibility, but it's very.
I mean, the very sad part about this film, I just noticed, the irony is being Charlie is the actor on the cover on this TV screen is the actor that played his son Nick wearing the glasses, the gentleman accused of actually slitting his throat and his own mother's throat. And the video we can watch of him just coming up after this in 10 minutes before trial of him when he was arrested, he was literally wearing a backpack. Like he looks like maybe no tie, but you know, it's wow, foreshadowing it at best.
Possible that he believes that his father ignores him or doesn't listen to him because in his own mind, he's being ignored. It's very possible that there are a lot of very intense feelings that have built up based on things that are not real or rational.
Are
you talking about my reading or are you talking about something else? My reading or something else? Okay, let's keep going.
My child better than an expert does, and I probably should have trusted my own instinct. Kitty. And that's one of the things I did learn about the whole experience.
I think the bonding came not from the story itself, but from the fact that we were working on a movie together, and I could see him in I would think, in the form that he could express himself the best, which is making movies, because he has so much experience. And so
now this is very interesting. He's asserting that his father connected with the movie making part of it, not the fact that it was his story. So he's minimizing the fact that his father was involved in his story. There seems to be, once again, a lot of discomfort here.
Self the best, which is making movies, because he has so much experience. And so seeing that sort of turned me around to be like, okay, I should probably.
No, sorry, I'm responding.
I should probably shut up and listen to him because he knows a lot.
The media shapes perception more than truth, but Ground News offers a fix. This website and app gathers over 50,000 global articles daily. They organize them by story and show clear visuals on political bias, reliability, and what's reported on it, which is on the right. Also, as financial review, use the QR code here on the screen. Let's get back to the analysis. The interviewer said something. I couldn't really understand what he said, but it seemed to throw Nick Reiner through a loop. Watch this right here.
Think in the form that he can express himself the best, which is making movies, because he has so much experience. And so seeing that sort of turned me around to be like, okay, I should probably.
There.
No, sorry, I'm responding.
I should probably shut up and listen to him.
He seems confused in social situations. He doesn't know how to react. We're not seeing much of any emotion at all in his face. Typically, when people speak or they want to be heard, they lift their eyebrows up to get people excited about what they're saying. We're seeing little to no emotion coming from him.
No, sorry, I'm responding.
I should probably shut up and listen to him because he knows a lot more about this. He knows I don't know anything, so I'll learn whatever he has to teach me.
I just think that's such a fascinating thing to say, that like your father, who you would always want to be at his best as your father, may be a type of person who's at his best when he's making movies, and that makes him more understandable or relatable as a father to you, which is so fascinating to me.
Yeah, it really clicked for me because we didn't bond a lot as a kid. Like, he really liked baseball. I like basketball, and he could watch that with my brother, but baseball. But I just, when I saw him do that, and it was something that I'm interested in, I was like, wow, like he really knows a lot. And like,
now we're actually seeing some eyebrow raises as he's talking about not being bonded to his father and that his brother liked baseball and all of these things. Now we're seeing some real feeling. The feeling of not being bonded to him when he was a child seems to be something that he really feels.
I like basketball, and he could watch that with my brother, but baseball.
I forgot I muted myself when I was Moonchild. Absolutely. That's the point. Like, right here on the interviews, he's heavily he's absolutely. And we were talking about with Jack and Lulu yesterday, another true crime case we're following here. And we were researching statistics because the stepfather is he's self-proclaimed meth addiction, was an issue. And I learned last night in watching this that the drugs that Nick was addicted to were meth, and they just, so he has mental health issues. It's clear he was and the neighbors are going to tell us when we watch this later that he was schizophrenic. They believe he was schizophrenic. So that's my point. Like, the signs were there. This gentleman, this young man, this 32-year-old that killed his parents, slit their throats, is tragic. But I mean, the signs were there. It's so sad.
But I just, when I saw him do that, and it was something that I'm interested in, I was like, wow, like he really knows a lot. And like, it made me feel closer to him and be like, yeah.
You're like, wow, my dad's Rob Reiner.
I never had thought about it.
See, he doesn't reflect other people's emotions. He doesn't smile along with them. Typically, we do that automatically. Somebody's laughing or smiling, particularly in an interview setting. It's hard not to do that at least a little bit. You get nothing. He doesn't try to mimic what other people are doing. He doesn't connect in that way. His social skills are peculiar.
Yeah.
You're like, wow, my dad's Rob Reiner.
I never had thought about it. And then.
Yeah. It didn't cross your mind, right?
Never.
No.
Never watched A Few Good Men. Didn't see that one.
No. But it's interesting that Nick would talk about it in that way because, we did share that experience. But, even though I've had a lot of experience making movies, and I said this to him many, many times, that he was the heart and soul of the film. So.
And he really believes that. I know I keep talking about the eyebrows, but they could be very interesting highlighting certain words. Watch this.
And I said this to him many, many times, that he was the heart and soul of the film. So
he's the heart and soul of the film. So that's something that Rob Reiner truly feels about this film that was made.
It has.
Did you work with him on set? Were you on set for the majority of the shooting?
Mm-hmm. I was on set with him.
No, sorry, go ahead.
I have no idea what I was going to say.
No, he was there every day.
See, even when he's being self-deprecating, watch this right here.
No, sorry, go ahead.
I have no idea what I was going to say.
This is someone who seems to really struggle to connect socially. And this can create a lot of problems when it comes to their perception of the world. So I talked about him not particularly mimicking smiling and laughing. Right now, you're getting a very slight, awkward smile. But if you cover up the bottom half of his face and just look at his eyes are so intense. There appears to be confusion. There's some anger. There's some frustration there. There's so much
sad
behind the eyes when you look at him right here, despite the fact that there's...
Stop calling demon possession a mental illness. I said, I think it's beyond depression here. So I'm not making fun of schizophrenia. My uncle was schizophrenic and was homeless for 10 years and ended up committing suicide. So you can say whatever you want, Joe. Schizophrenia is a mental health issue. He feels small under his father's light. Yeah. Okay, keep watching.
There's a very slight smile on his face.
He's a great actor, and Nick was there for all the casting. All of the auditions.
I was sitting there, but
but you always gave your opinion.
I was like, I saw that girl Morgan Saylor on Homeland, and I think during the season she like went to rehab or something, and I was just like, oh, she's a perfect rehab girl. That's the only.
He pushed for Morgan Saylor like crazy.
See, even when he tells jokes, he doesn't really smile. Occasionally he does, but for the most part, he's not connected with the feeling of what's being talked about.
And I think during the season she like went to rehab or something, and I was just like, oh, she's a perfect rehab girl. That was the only.
He pushed for Morgan Saylor like crazy. Yeah.
You had a personal connection to her right away?
No, but
just felt like you knew her.
Felt like I knew her from some land.
Yeah.
No.
So when he was asked if he had a personal connection to her, he immediately replies, no. This is someone who may really struggle to feel a personal connection to much of anybody. At least based on this interview, it seems like that's very possible.
Just felt like you knew her.
And then you see him look away. So what we're seeing is someone who doesn't just seem socially anxious. People that are socially anxious can be a little bit awkward, might stumble a little bit, but typically there's a rhythm you can get into to where they start to feel a little bit more comfortable and they go, hey, you know what? That wasn't so bad. He is firmly planting himself as staying awkward in this. He will not play the game. And he really seems to struggle with connecting with others, whether it's the interviewer or even this actress, it sounds like.
No, but
just felt like you knew her.
Felt like I knew her from some land.
Yeah.
You know.
And this kid is, I mean, he carries the movie in many ways.
And you can see he puts his microphone facing down after that. He really wants to stop talking.
And
yeah.
You know.
And this kid is, I mean, he carries the movie in many ways. He's in every scene of the film. And
another thing, other than casting, we all stayed at a hotel, the Hyatt House, at this, and we all hung out after every day. And that kid, when he first showed up, he had like a book about junkies. He had like watched some YouTube. And he started asking me questions about it. And I would try to fill him in as best as possible. But since the writing was done by us and Matt, he kind of got our sensibilities. So did Devin, from just hanging out with us, try to help.
So interestingly, he seems much more passionate when talking about his history with substances, when he's talking about bonding with people, his relationship with his father, when he's trying to connect with the interviewer. None of that's going well. But when he's talking about his own experiences, he actually does seem to pretty fluidly be able to talk about these things.
Did you find that? Did you find at a time when Nick needed you that you were also maybe really busy with a movie that you were working on? Because making movies, making TV shows does take a lot of work, be it on the set, reading the scripts, or just dealing with the business behind the scenes.
That's a better question to ask Nick, because I don't know if I was as available as I might have been, but that's something that you could answer. I mean,
what was the question? Sorry.
He wanted to know if being involved.
So I'm curious if Nick wasn't really listening or what he was focused on outside of listening to the interview. Now, it's not like we can't lose focus when people are speaking to us, but it seemed like he completely wasn't paying attention when someone was speaking to his father. His brain was elsewhere. He may be somebody that's fairly impulsive. He may struggle to pay attention to things. He may struggle to have focus. But let's keep going. This gets pretty interesting.
In show business and all that took me away from you to any degree that...
No.
Well, that's good.
No, but he's, I don't know if it really meant it, like Dr. G's saying, you know?
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Now, his response to this was very, very telling. I believe there is more to how he feels about this. I'm going to show you why. Let's go back.
Why do you think that, Stanley?
No. Well, that's good.
So immediately he just says no, looks away, puts his microphone down.
Do you think, Stanley, you're totally open to, that's fine. What do you think his parents sort of enabled his drug addiction, giving him money and didn't get him the proper help? Why do you think it's the parents' fault? If you feel like sharing and elaborating, do so, please.
He's basically saying, I have nothing else to say about this. He didn't say, no, you were great. I loved growing up with you. You were around plenty, whatever it is. He didn't add any detail to that. He just said no, put his microphone down, and now he's sitting very still. He wants this question to pass on by. He really doesn't want to engage more in this. I think there are a lot more feelings here.
Took me away from you to any degree that...
No.
Well, that's good. That's good to hear.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Nick, what about you? How often do you find yourself having the same sort of comic tenor as your father?
Well, I try to be funny whenever I can, but I don't really know. I don't know what that meant.
Well, when you're working on this script, did you feel like you had...
This goes back to the idea that he doesn't have much social etiquette. He doesn't seem to understand social situations very well.
Be funny whenever I can, but I don't really know. I don't know what that meant.
Well, when you're working on this script, did you feel like you had to sort of inject humor, or did you sort of find the humor organically?
No, there's so much funny stuff that happens in rehab, and a lot of funny people. Like, it's tragic and all, but the people that are there are not going to want you to throw them a pity party. They're going to want you to laugh at the situation and make light of it.
There's a great scene in it. In the movie, when you see it, where the main character Charlie is gotten bathroom detail, and he's having to clean the bathroom, and he's with his...
So one thing I want you to also focus on is that his father is not domineering in the sense that he's taking over the conversation or interrupting him. I think he's doing his best to let Nick Reiner talk, to get him to say something, but he keeps this going. He keeps it more fluid. He keeps it more comfortable for everybody. And so the awkwardness of Nick Reiner is minimized by Rob Reiner injecting himself in certain situations. So I don't see him as somebody who's ignoring Nick Reiner or is speaking over him or anything like that. But obviously he has much bigger body language. He moves a lot more. He certainly seems a lot more comfortable, obviously.
His friend there, and they're working, the two guys in rehab, they're cleaning the bathroom. And there's a dialogue between the two of them that's hysterical. And it's actually a conversation that Nick had with somebody that he encountered in, and so they put it right in the
Watch this
script.
Yeah, the confusion in that scene is very real, and I sort of got a sense when I watched it, like, this is a real conversation.
Yeah.
You can tell that this conversation
actually happened
somewhere,
and he couldn't figure out what that.
Look at this lip raising. He's not happy. Look at this.
I mean, for those of you who haven't seen it,
now here's a very uncomfortable moment. I want you to watch Nick Reiner's mouth right here.
This
actually happened
somewhere,
and he couldn't figure out what that. I mean,
hey, Skippy.
So we're getting a sneer. This is anger.
We are going to watch we're going to go live here in 30 seconds to watch. I don't know if they're going inside court. I don't know. But Nick Reiner, who killed his parents, slit their throat. We were talking about yesterday's live with Jack and Lily about meth addiction, and Daniel, the stepdad, saying that he was admitting to being in rehab for meth addiction. And I didn't realize that Nick Reiner also had an addiction to meth. So while we're waiting for the outside court appearance to start now, I wanted to listen to this. We got a minute left of this, then we're going to jump to that and see if we're going to go inside. I don't know yet.
He does not like talking about this. Not only is he uncomfortable, but something about this is making him feel angry, actually. And this is them talking about what should be a funny moment. They're talking about the humor in the film. They're talking about a real experience that he had. But this is bringing up some serious anger for him.
Conversation.
Yeah.
You can tell that this conversation
actually happened.
Yeah, I know, but he
figure out what that. I mean, for those of you who haven't seen it, I don't want to give it too much.
I get that, but I learned that last night, which we're going to listen to soon. That he was addicted to meth.
Of a way, but
yeah,
it's about a guy who gets sexual favors,
hey, YouTuber,
and also scores dope. And
it's a who's on first with heroin and hookers.
And the other.
Okay, so we're going to hear this actually happened. Okay, he lost his virginity because he used his parents' money to get a hooker over to the house. So what they're talking about right now, literally, is a true story.
Guy. And the other guy can't figure out, well, what did the guy who's giving you the favors, he's also giving you the dope, what is he getting out of this? And he couldn't figure it out, so it's pretty funny.
But you're right,
Rob,
he does look
I have
clean.
to ask, as we said that you're...
It's one of the rare moments we actually are seeing a little bit of discomfort from Rob Reiner. The way that he grips himself afterward, it's almost like holding on to himself because what he just talked about made him feel uncomfortable.
And he couldn't figure it out, so it's pretty funny.
Rob, I have to ask,
And you saw his hand go up right there. It's almost like expelling a little bit of extra energy because he's feeling a little bit uncomfortable right now too.
Out of this, and he couldn't figure it out, so it's pretty funny.
All right, let's go ahead and wrap things up here. Hopefully this is helping you better understand.
Okay, let's go to see what's going on with the live here. I don't know, again, I don't know if we're actually going to go outside, but let's find out and see if we're going outside or if we're going inside rather.
We heard that in the last report.
We're going to see. He looks worse this interview 10 years ago. Yeah, it's definitely sad. I've got a few more videos here. Just want to see if we're going to go in the courthouse. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm guessing that not, because I think court's starting now. Did you hear who his lawyer is? Did you hear who his lawyer is? Oh my God. Karen Reed's lawyer, Alan Jackson. Karen Reed's lawyer, Alan Jackson, is epic. Is going to be his defense lawyer. That is wild. Absolutely wild. So I just want to sit here for a few minutes. My suspicion is we're not going to go inside. Yeah, Alan Jackson, YouTuber, is his lawyer. Who's that, Ethan? Alan Jackson, did you hear about the case of Karen Reed? Have you heard about the case of Karen Reed? So, okay, cameras are focused on the door now. I'm guessing we're not going to get an in-lot. So Karen Reed was the woman who is still fighting legally, was accused of killing her police Boston boyfriend, and was set up by the police according to her defense and was cleared. Yes, exactly. And Alan Jackson, it is disgraceful, Michael, rather. Alan Jackson was the lawyer, the team that got Karen off. So I'm going to see. I really don't think we're going to get an inside view here based on the fact that trial is supposed to be starting now. and we're looking at the outside, but I didn't know. So we're going to look at this for a couple more minutes, and then I'll take you back. We'll look at Alan Jackson. I mean, he's epic. He's epic. They exposed absolutely, Michael. I mean, it's like, may she sue their ASSs off. I mean, listen, there's still trials that are going on. In fact, the cop was so corrupt he lost his job. And there's still the trial she's suing, and they're suing, and the McCabs are suing her, and whatever. It's just wild. There's I think there's a documentary coming off out on Netflix as well. Like, they're doing a movie. I mean, she was framed, in my opinion, so badly by the Boston police. It's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And her lawyer, Alan Jackson, I mean, there was a team of lawyers, but he was the main lawyer, and he remains her lawyer at this point. Okay, so it looks like we're not going to go inside. So let's just move to that. I want to show you they exposed. Yeah, absolutely. Let's go and see. I'm going to pull up Alan Jackson here. Let me look for it. Alan Jackson. Okay. I'll show you this. I'm still going to watch here. Oh, we're going inside. I don't know. We'll stop. I'm going to keep an eye on it. But Alan Jackson. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to see if we can watch this instead of me having to read it, because where is it? Where is it? There was a video here. Let me get it. Alan Jackson, because I've seen it. I mean, to go from, I mean, it's a fascinating transition. Let's go watch it. It's a fascinating transition because, you know, one, he's defending a woman. I mean, listen, I understand that that's the job. That's the job. You defend people no matter what, right? But from changing from Karen Reed to this is epically interesting. So listen
about this. Obviously, Nick Reiner was supposed to be in court today, but was not medically cleared. So we want to talk a little bit more about that.
He wasn't medically cleared. Wow. Okay, let's watch this. This is interesting. This is very interesting. I didn't hear that. Let's go. Where did that go now? Whoops, wrong one. Hang on. Come on. Honest to God, Leanne. I had it. Come on. Alan Jackson. There. I had no idea. That let's pull up the right one. That he wasn't cleared. Interesting. Okay, let's watch this. This is Fox, live from Fox.
Continue to talk about this. Obviously, Nick Reiner was supposed to be in court today, but was not medically cleared. So we want to talk a little bit more about that and the latest here in this investigation. So let's bring in a friend here of Live Now from Fox, Nima Romani, former federal prosecutor.
Yeah, I agree.
Joining us here with the latest. And Nima, so paint the picture for our audience here. He was supposed to be in court. What does that mean, not medically cleared? What is going on behind the scenes?
Mike, thanks for having me. Obviously, an incredibly tragic case. So when you're talking about Nick Reiner's medical clearance, it could really mean one of a few things. He could be physically injured, and we don't know if he suffered any stab wounds or knife wounds during this altercation. Again, assuming he is indeed the killer. Could be a physical injury. Now, there are some reports that he did go to a hotel in Santa Monica, which is adjacent to Brentwood, and there was a significant amount of blood in the bed sheets and in the bathtub. Again, I'm just assuming for the sake of argument that those reports are accurate. It may be due to blood loss or some other physical injury. The other possibility, of course, is drug use. And there are reports that Nick Reiner did have a drug problem. He was in and out of rehab. Folks who saw him at the hotel and the Christmas party at Conan O'Brien's house the day before did report that he was acting erratically. So it could be drug related. Obviously, it could be mental health related. Now, under California law, a criminal defendant has a right to be charged within 48 hours of arrest. So him being arrested on Sunday means that he should have been charged today, which he was. And usually they'll make their court appearance that same day, no later than the very next day. But obviously, if he has some medical issue and he has to stay in the Twin Towers here in downtown Los Angeles, where I am, for some period of time, that initial court appearance may be delayed.
All right, very good there, Nima. And let's also talk about the big defense attorney, Alan Jackson, that he hired. We've known him for several high-profile cases, including Karen Reed. What can we make here of Alan Jackson being on his defense side?
I mean, apparently he's got some money because he's hired somebody that's not cheap.
Mike, Alan Jackson has an excellent reputation, really one of the best. He did win the Karen Reed trial, not once, but twice. He's representing the individual who's charged with killing the 4 Pepperdine students on Pacific Coast Highway that got a lot of attention here in Los Angeles. And now he's probably handling the highest profile trial in America right now. This case is going to get a lot of attention, not just here in Los Angeles where I am, but all around the world because of the nature of the victim. Rob Reiner is very well known, the horrific nature of the charges, being stabbed to death by your own
There's
son.
Alan
And the
Jackson.
fact that we're going to have a lot of celebrity witnesses in this case. I mentioned Conan O'Brien. We've already seen Billy Crystal outside the house. I don't know if he was present when these bodies were found, Larry David, a host of others. So this case has a lot that is going to draw a lot of attention. And I expect that the proceedings here in Los Angeles will be televised as well.
And Nemo, help
Yeah,
us out here
I
with
hope
this
so. I wanna
situation.
follow it.
So Nick is charged here with the worst thing that you could do to your parents, and that is, of course, killing them. Is he using the family money to fund his defense? How is this working out?
Under California's Slayer statute,
Slayer
because he has
statute.
been alleged to have killed his parents, if he's
Wild.
convicted, that means he can't inherit, whether it be by will, trust, life insurance, anything else where he would be a beneficiary. So he can't access that money. Now, if he is found not guilty by reason of insanity, he may be able to do so. I'm sure we're going to talk about the potential
Whoa.
defenses in the case, but here's someone who was reportedly homeless for a while. I don't think he has significant assets. Obviously, I don't know what Alan Jackson is charging, if he's charging anything at all. To take a case to jury trial, when you're talking about a double murder, will probably cost millions of dollars. I don't know if Jackson is doing this pro bono or he hopes to get an acquittal or some other basis to be paid down the road. But I'm just guessing, and this is just speculation, that the defendant here doesn't have significant assets. And
Well, originally, I don't know, because originally they set his bond at 4 million and then they redacted it and said no bond, right? So 4 million, that's a significant bond.
whether it's another
But
family member that's stepping up, I don't know, or Jackson is doing this for a reduced fee or no fee at all. I don't think, from what I'm seeing, that he could typically afford at Jackson's normal rates.
Very good intel, Nima. And lastly, here we did see Alan Jackson at the Reiner home, the site of the bloody murder that happened on sometime Saturday into Sunday. Tell us what a defense attorney is doing when they do a walkthrough of the crime scene.
Well, Jackson is going to have to pull a rabbit out of his hat here, and it's very
yeah,
early in the case. And again, he really put on an effective defense in the Karen Reed trial. I never thought that someone would be accused of running over her police officer boyfriend, and there'd be so much PR and press and support for the accused, the defendant in that case. But
mhm.
here, it's going to be a very challenging case to defend for some of the reasons that we've talked about. Under California law, if you kill someone and it's premeditated and there are multiple victims, that's first degree murder with special circumstances. Now, there is a moratorium on the death penalty, but we're going to have a new governor next year. Gavin Newsom is termed out, so it's possible that the new governor could lift that moratorium. Obviously, Nathan Hochman hasn't pursued a death penalty case yet as a prosecutor, and I would be very surprised if we ultimately do have the death penalty, but that's something that Jackson has to consider. So when you're defending this case, you start thinking, okay, If he is really the killer, I'm going to assume that for the sake of argument. Is there some possible defense here? Self-defense doesn't seem likely. He's 32. His parents are a lot older. I don't know if that would apply. Generally speaking, drug use, if it's voluntary, is not a legal defense, but it may negate the premeditation. That would take first-degree murder with a potential life sentence or even death sentence down to second-degree murder, which has a 25 to life and the possibility of parole under California law. I don't think there's much of an argument for manslaughter. The reason being, if you're arguing with your parents and you go back, you're not in the heat of passion, whether you go back with a knife or you grab a knife. And I really want to address the potential insanity defense because a lot of people are asking me about it, Mike. California law is very difficult to prove insanity. First, you have to go through the regular trial itself. If the jurors find that the defendant is guilty, then you have a second phase, and it's bifurcated. At that second phase, then the defense has to present evidence, and the burden is on them, and it's called the McNaughton test. Because of a mental disease or defect, the defendant did not know the nature and consequences of his actions. Basically, doesn't know right from wrong. So if you are capable enough and coherent enough to know who your parents are and have an argument with them, you're not legally insane. It really applies when, you think you're killing a demon or an alien or God is telling you to do something. So far, and again, it's very early, and I wouldn't put it past Alan Jackson to come up with some sort of defense. This is going to be a very difficult case to defend with the limited information that's been made public so far.
I don't know. So that's Alan Jackson. And so we've just learned that he's not fit for trial today. I just want to go back to show you the court scene, and we're going to keep covering this. I just want you to show you. This is the outside the courtroom. We were thinking, as everybody was, that he was going to be in court today, and we just learned that he is not fit to stand trial yet today. Assuming he's coming off drugs or whatever else, but let's keep watching. I want you to see this other video here, because this is really interesting. It's sad. It's really, really sad. Let's watch this. Let's cover Ashley, and then I'm going to play you Paris Hilton's. He does a really, really interesting, full of information coverage. So let's do that in a second, but let's watch Ashley here. We've got, hold on, where did it go? Where did it go? Come on, I just had it. There it is. This is Ashley Banfield in Drop Dead Serious. So yeah, let's go back.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ashley Banfield, and this is Drop Dead Serious. There is some breaking news out of Los Angeles. It's sending shockwaves right across the country.
Okay, well,
I'm going to just tell you, there's not one person who has not been affected by the death of Rob Reiner and his wife. And I say that even if you're not a fan, he either directed or wrote or starred in something that was meaningful in your life, right? Maybe way back it was Archie Bunker when he was Meathead. Maybe it was A Few Good Men. Maybe it was When Harry Met Sally. Maybe it was Spinal Tap or the reboot of Spinal Tap. Rob Reiner was iconic in Hollywood. And he was iconic in politics as well, leftist politics. He was just so committed to his political causes. His murder is reverberating way past Hollywood. The brutal killings of this Hollywood legend and his wife is a family tragedy. Rob was murdered in his home yesterday, along with his wife of 36 years, Michelle Reiner. She was a producer and a photographer, and it is their son, Nick Reiner, who's locked up tonight and suspected of knifing his parents to death after a heated fight that took place at the home of Conan O'Brien, the famous comedian, at his annual A-list Christmas party. Conan O'Brien has this huge Christmas party every year, and it's kind of the talk of the town. Like if you get invited to Conan O'Brien's party, you're somebody, right? And everybody always talks about who got invited, who didn't get invited, and what happened at Conan's party. And as it turns out, the party was just on December 13th. That was Saturday night. And Rob and Michelle were there with their son, Nick. I'm going to tell you everything that I know so far about some weird stuff that happened at the party. Also, a couple of very upsetting new details about the injuries that were suffered by Rob and Michelle. And then again, this curious behavior of their son, Nick, that he was exhibiting at the Christmas party at Conan's mansion, right? Along with some of the movies that I already mentioned, Rob Reiner is famous for box office hits like The Princess Bride, Stand By Me, The American President by Aaron Sorkin, and the list goes on and on and on. The news broke on Sunday night, December 14th, that the couple had been found by their daughter, Romy. She must have walked in on them. She lives across the street. They were brutally stabbed to death inside their gated luxury Brentwood home. And it took just hours before the police could finally name a suspect and make an arrest. The couple's 32-year-old son, Nick. According to the LAPD, Nick has been booked on murder, currently being held without bail, and do not expect that to change. A double murder with somebody who's been homeless in the past, who's had drug addiction problems. That's what you call a flight risk. That's what you call a guy who now may have access to Rob Reiner's millions.
But they're outside and I can hear them still and nothing's going on. So I think it's legitimately postponed.
It's kind of funny. There was originally reports that it was a $4 million bail. And that sounded crazy. Not many people get bail when there's murder involved, especially when the kind of murder that they're talking about would bring on a life sentence, no chance of parole, right? So what do you got to lose? Skip bail. What do you got to lose? So it was surprising when they first, I'm going to talk about that in a little bit, why there was a $4 million bail. And then suddenly it was changed to no bail. But Nick has been very open about his struggles with heroin addiction, about being homeless and what that was like for him. He even co-wrote a 2016 film called Being Charlie, and it was based on his own life experiences. Guess who directed it? His dad, Rob Reiner. So, wow. The tributes that have been coming in to Rob and Michelle.
You don't think? I'm kind of thinking the opposite. I'm thinking the opposite because he was so well loved. I'm just wondering if they are going to come forward about the party scene, but I don't know. Let's keep listening because I got several videos lined up here because the next one after this is wild.
Have been just nonstop, just pouring in. Here's an example. Actress and singer Rita Wilson, married to Tom Hanks. She appeared in Rob Reiner's The Story of Us. And she wrote in part, Rob and Michelle Reiner are two people who really did make the world a better place. Rob was a generous director who loved actors because he was one himself. He gave actors freedom and he trusted our choices. His work as an actor, writer, director will live on, as will all the works that he and Michelle endeavored so hard to establish for our civil good. Our hearts go out to their families with the deepest of sorrow and love.
Oh, and FYI, we are doing a Jack and Lily live again, or not again, and a live later today. So I will be on here again later.
And then Kathy Bates, huge star. She starred in Misery, right? That was a Rob Reiner movie as well. And she remembered the couple in this way, quote, I loved Rob. He was brilliant and kind and a man who made films of every genre to challenge himself as an artist. He also fought courageously for his political beliefs. He changed the course of my life. Michelle was a gifted photographer. She shot my beautiful photos for the Misery campaign. My heart breaks for them both. My thoughts are with their family. Earlier on my News Nation show, I talked to Brian Enton, News Nation's senior national correspondent, who was outside of the Reiner home. And I'm going to play you our conversation in its entirety in just one moment. First, though, I just want to thank you so much once again. I do not take for granted that you are a part of this community with me and that you come here and you listen to my stories. And I appreciate you. I can't do it without you.
Go support Ashley Banfield. She's leaving News Nation. Probably be on the recap if it's late here. I'm not using Starlink. No, I don't know.
I can't do it without my sponsors either. And I have a new sponsor that I wanted to talk to you a little bit about tonight. Ladies, this is for you.
Okay, we're going to jump ahead.
Wide. You're welcome. All right, back to the podcast. Here is my conversation with Brian Enton from News Nation about Rob Reiner. He was live outside of Rob Reiner's home because that investigation is really only just getting started. Brian, there's been a lot of activity there. It took hours and hours just last night for them to get a warrant. I'm wondering if the crime scene has wrapped up, if there's still activity there.
Yeah, it's interesting when you talk about it taking hours last night for them to get a warrant. I learned the reason today, and it's because Nick.
I'm wondering. I mean, they were Jewish as well, and they were killed on Hanukkah. I mean, I don't know, Cope. If did he despise his dad for his political beliefs? I mean, it could be. We don't really know, right? Other than the fact that he had a history, and it's reported had schizophrenia and meth addiction.
Reiner, the son, was actually living here at his parents' house, and there is a California law that if you're a resident of a place and there's a criminal investigation,
well, you're going to hear in a minute.
Get a warrant, and they didn't want to take any chances, and they didn't feel like they were in a rush in that moment, I'm told, which is why they waited for the warrant to go inside. But this is the Reiner's home behind me, just a beautiful, beautiful house here in Brentwood. It's so sad to look at. I mean, the beautiful white gates, but all the Christmas decorations, the Christmas ornaments hanging from the trees. They were apparently very, very festive this time of year. One neighbor was telling me the gates were normally open, that they would be having parties this time of year. They were getting ready for the first night of Hanukkah last night when they were brutally stabbed and killed in their home, Ashley.
So, Brian, you had a chance to speak with a former FBI agent today, but not just any FBI agent, someone who actually lives in the neighborhood and was on scene. When did that agent get on scene? What did the agent tell you?
Yeah, this is Maureen O'Connell, and she lives down the street. She knows people in the area, and the minute she heard about this happening, she raced over to see what was going on and started talking to the neighbors. Listen to what she
exactly.
told me.
I know.
I asked him what he had heard
happen,
and he said both Rob Reiner and his wife have both passed away. And initial reportings were that one had passed away, but not the other. And so he said, no, now it's both. And, unfortunately, that turned out to be true. Many people in the neighborhood say that the son, Nick, had been troubled his whole youth. And
in fairness, I didn't tell anybody. I just woke up this morning and decided, because I was up late last night watching this, and I wanted to cover it. So we just learned he was supposed to be in trial today, and he wasn't fit to stand trial today. But if you just getting in, Alan Jackson, the famous, brilliant attorney who got Karen Reed off, is going to be defending him. And so it's been delayed. I think that he's going to have to be in court tomorrow, I'm guessing, based on the legal requirements that he appear in court within a certain amount of time from being arrested. So, but he could be detoxing. I don't really know. I suspect this is Alan Jackson's doing, that he's not attending court today.
Again, another tragedy, but to stab both your parents is just, and then for the sister to find them.
Yeah,
it's just
sad. Morning, Jane. Morning, honey.
On Hanukkah,
And
also, we are going to be doing a Jack and Lily live later today after this. So don't worry, there'll be 2 lives today. Who knows? Maybe a 3rd. I don't know. No, definitely 2 for sure.
Sister, does she live right there?
She lives right across the street.
So sad.
Yeah, she was explaining to me that the sister lives close by, was concerned, came to check on her parents, and is actually the one who made that discovery. And amid all of that commotion outside the house, she was telling me that celebrities started showing up. Larry David, Albert Brooks, Billy Crystal, who was one of Rob Reiner's best friends, they all arrived here and were just in a panic, Ashley, when they realized what had happened.
So there was some confusion earlier today because the LAPD said that their son Nick was being held on $4 million bail, which sounded weird, given that this is a double murder, if he was being held on murder charges. And then they flipped. What was the story behind the bail confusion?
Yeah, and there was concern here in the neighborhood when that first came out, because while $4 million might sound like a lot, you know, he could possibly have those financial resources. But it turns out they backtracked. It was no longer a $4 million bond. We were then told that the bond was set at zero. So there was no chance of him getting out. And we have learned through TMZ reporting tonight that he is apparently on suicide watch right now.
Yeah, suicide watch.
I would not be the least bit surprised about that.
Suicide watch. I mean, we don't really know what happened, but we know he was a meth addicted to meth, which we're going to hear in 10 minutes here. And we know he had a history of mental health issues, which neighbors are saying they thought he had schizophrenia. So with a combination of meth and schizophrenia, and they had an argument the night before, like, you know, did he really just not know what he was doing in that moment? I don't really know.
Given that he's had such mental health issues in the past, apparently drug addiction, and then
sorry,
what
Krista.
he's accused of. I mean, good God, if this is true.
Sorry, Krista. It's because he was supposed to be in court at 10:30, and I wanted to get on here before court, only to learn that he wasn't fit to stand trial today. So that's why. I'm sorry, honey. I'm sorry.
All right. So the other question I have for you is what's next? I mean, he's booked, but he's not charged yet. There's some official work that still needs to be done. What's the next step in this process for Nick Reiner?
Yeah, so there's court bright and early tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. Los Angeles time.
My uncle, who committed suicide, my dad's brother, had schizophrenia. Schizophrenia, I learned a lot about because of that. He was a lawyer with my dad, came home one day and found my ex-aunt, his wife, in bed with another man. And what I learned is that schizophrenia is kind of like cancer. You can have a predisposition to it, and later in life, it can be triggered by a traumatic event. And that's what happened to my uncle. He was a lawyer. He was well known, and he was in business in partnership with my dad's brother. And that episode triggered schizophrenia, and he was homeless for 10 years. We found him in Toronto. We didn't know where he was. When we got him back, he had no teeth. And my dad put him in a home, in an RV, because on an RV site, because that's the only place that would take him. Okay, literally. And when my mom and dad went to visit him one day, the landlord called. Oh, good, Anne. The landlord called to say, or the owner of the RV park said, like, okay, he's cutting down the hydro poles. He thinks the FBI are here listening in on him. And when my parents went in to go and see how he was doing, he literally was hidden behind the door. And when they walked in the trailer, he jumped on my dad from behind and was like trying to kill my dad and suffocate him. So that's not true. Because I know, because my dad and my mom experienced it with my uncle in that moment. My uncle ended up committing suicide and drinking antifreeze on Christmas Day. He was found on Boxing Day. So yeah.
Downtown LA, he is going to be making his first court appearance, where he will officially be charged. It's going to be interesting to see who's there. Who is his lawyer? Will his family be there? Will his sister?
In fact, a lot of homeless people are said to be schizophrenic. Yeah. Yeah, it's very tragic. That's the uncle with my dad's grandfather. Sorry, that's okay, honey. Who were coming into me energetically, pleading for me to help my dad because, of course, of what was going on with my dad. But yeah,
perhaps be there.
Yeah,
we don't know, but the first court hearing is tomorrow morning.
I know.
Oh, Brian, I just can't even imagine what these siblings are going through at this time. Like you said, you can see the holiday lights behind you. This is supposed to be,
We're going to learn in a second here, which is exactly what happened to my uncle. He would go off his meds, like he'd go on the meds and he'd feel better. And he'd go, see, I don't need the meds. And he'd go off the meds. And that's apparently what his parents struggled with him, with Nick here, apparently. So
season of family and celebration, and this is I mean, there's just been so much sadness, right?
Yeah.
From Brown University to Bondi Beach to now Rob Reiner's home. Break into the show if you learn of anything. If anybody shows up tonight, if you find anything out, by all means, just step in and let us know what's happening. Thank you, Brian. TMZ has been out in front of this story, breaking several details of what happened inside Rob Reiner's home, as well as what's happened with the son. Today, no exception as well. I had a chance to speak with TMZ's senior news producer, Charlie Neff. Here's our conversation. Charlie, it seems like Nick had a history of mental illness and maybe even drug abuse. What do you know about it?
Yeah, so Nick has publicly talked about his mental illness issues and his substance abuse issues over the years. Specifically, he had said that he had been homeless every now and then because he did not want to go to the places, the rehab facilities that his parents wanted him to go to. And so the only other option for him was to live on the street. He had been in and out of rehab. And, you know, Rob had openly talked about how he desperately tried to help his son over the years. He even had said that at times he regretted listening to counselors and what they were telling him his son needed, and he wished he listened more to his son was saying he needed, but he was being told that his son was manipulating him and his wife, and he regretted just how everything had transpired. And there was a time when Nick was sober. He had collabed with his father on a drama that was loosely based on their life. It was called Being Charlie, and you know, they did a lot of promotion for that movie. And at the time when they did interviews together, Nick had admitted that him and his father had a strained relationship and didn't have a whole lot of things in common. But, you know, everybody knows that Rob and his wife, Michelle, tried so hard to get their son the help that he needed.
Charlie, what was the relationship like between Nick and his mother, Michelle?
The relationship that Nick had with his parents was very strained. In fact, we were told that these past couple months was really, really tough on the family. We're being told that Rob and his wife, Michelle, told their very close friends that they had tried everything they could to help their son, and they were at a breaking point where they didn't know what else they could do to help him.
This is the reality of meth, right? Like, it's not pot. You know, I'm not saying pot's healthy. I'm just saying there's a different layer to you know, do you drink beer or do you drink vodka straight on ice? You know, I'm not saying you can't be an alcoholic with beer, but meth is clearly more dangerous, you know, and it's sad and more addictive, you know, and hard to get clean from.
Nick was living at the house at the time of the grisly murders. But, you know, I think everybody wants answers as to why this happened. How does a son kill their parents potentially in such a grisly fashion? We're told that there was knife wounds found in their necks. And, you know, it took a very long time for police to arrest Nick, and he is currently in custody in connection with the murders of his parents.
It's devastating to think about an attack like that. If he's guilty of these crimes, that is such an incredibly personal way to kill someone in hand-to-hand combat, especially someone you know at close contact like that. Do you know anything more about any of the injuries and where the bodies were found and what the crime scene looked like?
We're still looking into exactly where the bodies were found. We do know that they did have knife wounds. We also know that their daughter, Romy, was the one that discovered their bodies yesterday afternoon, and she was the one that had called police. And when responders came onto the scene, she told police that she believed her brother Nick was the one behind the murders and had cited an argument that had happened recently as to maybe being the reason as to why he acted out in violence.
Let me pull on that thread a little bit, because TMZ is reporting that the family went to Conan O'Brien's Christmas party over the weekend. I think it was Saturday night, and that there was quite a heated argument that others witnessed between Nick and I think his mother, but I might have that wrong. What do you know about this reported argument?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we're hearing that they attended Conan O'Brien's holiday party on Saturday, like you mentioned, and there was some kind of argument that happened specifically between Nick and his father. Michelle was there as well, and I know she was very distraught over this argument. It's unclear what this argument was over, but we do know that it was so animated, so heated, that people that were at the party overheard the commotion. And shortly after the argument came to an end, we're told that both Rob and his wife, Michelle, left. It's unclear if Nick left at that time, but some people that were there at the party also told us that it was surprising to see the way that Nick was dressed. He showed up to, a very fancy holiday party at none other than Conan O'Brien's huge mansion, wearing a hoodie. It didn't look like he wanted.
I mean, Krista, it's true. I mean, it's definitely, we don't really know what the impact was of the meth, but it's clear that people thought he had schizophrenia. And I don't know how long, I don't really know, but we did research yesterday that meth does have a link to abuse and violence. There is a connection to long-term meth use and violence and behavior that's unpredictable.
To be there. We're told he looked very out of place. And, it just really sets the scene as to what this looked like, what this party looked like. And here they were there with their son. They brought him along. We don't know if his appearance got brought up at all, but we do know that he was noticed because of his appearance at the party, and as well as the argument that transpired.
Just a couple seconds left, but I do want to ask you, is there any reason as to why Romy believed that it was her brother, or at least indicated as such to the police?
We know that Romy had noted the mental health issues that Nick had over the years, and she had noted his substance abuse issues over the years, and she had mentioned the argument that happened as well that she knew about. And so she believed that he was the one that had acted out in violence. We know that Nick was not home at the time. Like I mentioned, he was living at the house.
Very sad.
And so Romy had insinuated to police that he may have fled the scene, and that is why he wasn't located on the property. And we do know that police were looking for him for quite some time, and they since have arrested him, and now he's behind bars.
So that's it for this episode.
It's interesting because, there's so many things in this case. Hanukkah, his dad's political beliefs, we really don't know what triggered him. But let's watch this. Let's watch this. I want to show you this, and then we're going to watch this other video that's got, after this, so much information. He was dealing with addiction since he was 14. Absolutely, honey. Absolutely. So it's just, it's just long-term addiction, long-term addiction. I don't know, man. Let's watch this. This is the moment of his arrest.
Tonight, this time of the deaths of Michelle and Rob Reiner. Their son officially has been charged now with their murders. 6 charges in all, including first-degree murder. And that breaking news tonight, we just obtained new video from a gas station where Nick Reiner is spotted buying a drink right before he was arrested. Eyewitness News reporter Anthony Carlo.
He's just murdered his parents.
The arrest also happened.
He's just murdered his parents, and he's just nonchalantly going to the gas station, buying things, wearing that backpack that I was just talking about in the film with the character on the movie cover scene of the movie, is the character playing him and his addiction issues in the film his dad produced wearing a backpack, and here he is walking around wearing a backpack when he was arrested.
And Rob Reiner.
Foreshadowing at its best.
Their son officially has been charged now with their murders. 6 charges in all, including first-degree murder.
Yeah.
And that breaking news tonight, we just obtained new video from a gas station where Nick Reiner is spotted buying a drink right before he was arrested. Eyewitness News reporter Anthony Carlo has the new video as the arrest.
Yeah, I know.
Happened.
It may look cinematic as new video shows police swarming their suspect, but this was far from a Hollywood ending. The person in handcuffs, now formally accused of stabbing to death film giant Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle, their own son.
Today, I'm here to announce that our office will be filing charges against Nick Reiner.
The announcement today from the Los Angeles County District Attorney made crystal clear the troubled life of Nick Reiner had devolved to a place so twisted.
Well, he must have changed his clothes.
Rob Reiner was a brilliant
I mean, he obviously changed his clothes before he left the house, right? So there's some sort of element of knowing what he was doing here.
And director, an
right?
iconic force in our entertainment industry. His wife, Michelle Singer Reiner, was an equally iconic photographer and producer. Their loss is beyond tragic.
It was only a decade ago Nick spoke highly of his parents while he and his father were promoting their film inspired by his own struggles with addiction.
Well, I think I'm lucky in the sense that I have parents that care about me.
Just a few years later, on a podcast in 2018, Nick shared how violent and ugly his battle with drugs could get, describing how he once destroyed his parents' guest house while high on meth.
I was up for days on end, and I started punching out different things in my guest house.
A family dynamic marred by substance abuse and
very
conflict.
sad.
It would be no different just this past Saturday night. Sources tell ABC News Rob Reiner and his son Nick got into an argument at Conan O'Brien's holiday party. Nick was seen acting strangely. The next day, Reiner's daughter found the bodies of her parents inside their Brentwood home.
This case is heartbreaking and deeply personal, not only for the Reiner family
next
and their
day.
loved ones, but for our entire city.
Rob Reiner's films are those.
So they had the argument, and then the next day, this daughter, his sister, who lives across the street from the parents that were murdered, found their bodies.
Hollywood immortality.
I'll have what she's having.
But even those who seem larger than life are mortal. And when it came to discussing his son, at least publicly, Rob was ever so human.
They don't know what he's gone through. They don't know why he's done what he does.
32-year-old Nick Reiner could face the death penalty or life without the possibility of parole. The district attorney says the family's wishes would be taken into consideration. He faces 2 counts of first-degree murder with special circumstances.
I heard that.
Some of the most serious charges that can be brought for allegedly using a knife to kill his mother and father. Anthony Carlo.
Let's watch this. Okay, we got a really good video coming up here. This gives us a lot of detail, This is a good one. It's a lot of detail. Oh, yeah. It's so sad. This whole thing is just so sad. Whoops. I know. You know what? It's definitely not uncommon to see things going on at Christmas. That's the other thing. I mean, they were Jewish. It's Hanukkah season. People, we always, regrettably, we see a lot of, I shouldn't say we always, it's not uncommon to see people who are depressed at the holidays act out, right? Because holidays are really hard for people who don't feel close and feel loved and, thanks, Hope. Thanks, honey. Let's watch this. This is Paris Hilton. Let me see. I got to open the channel here. Paris Hilton. Okay, let's watch this one. Hang on.
Soulless, empty, and I think resentful of his family. And it is such a blessing that that young woman was not home when he was there.
This one's wild. It gives us a lot of information.
A source confirms to the Daily Mail, quote, Nick had been living in their guest house, the same one he destroyed more than once, but it had been like a revolving door all his adult life. He would do meth and not sleep for days and then have outbursts, breaking things, punching walls. He was a ticking time bomb. His drug use was getting worse and his parents wanted him out.
Wanted him
AA
out.
and NA are supposed to be anonymous, but unfortunately, somebody who knew Nick from that is blabbing. And that's why I do think this Daily Mail report is credible. Because a lot of people are like canaries. They will start singing when there's
You're
money.
lucky, Hope. You're lucky, Hope.
And especially if this person is off the wagon and they're going to use this money for substances or alcohol. This insider claims that Nick, quote, used to brag how he could get away with anything and took money from his parents for rhymes with hugs and prostitutes, professional lovers. He would talk about this stuff in meetings, but then stopped going because he said it was too cultish. He laughed about destroying his parents' guest house more than once. He was so nonchalant about it. He kept saying he hadn't touched, the H word, heroin, and that he could handle his weed, but that turned into meth and staying up for days and not eating.
Yeah.
He really had no control. He busted his hand when he punched the bathroom wall and refused to get help. He would fight with his parents because they would give him the ultimatum, take medication and stop using or move out. When he started threatening his sister for confronting him, that's when all hell broke loose. His parents threatened to call authorities multiple times, but in the end didn't. During a podcast interview in 2018, Nick, as I previously shared with you all, recounted a story about how he destroyed the guest house, and the host asked him why he did that. If the outburst was a way to relieve pent-up anger. And Nick Reiner responded, "No, you're crazy. No logic. No logic? No reason for that? That's the real crazy." And as I also previously shared, Nick had struggled with substance abuse since he was a young teenager, just 14 years old. In fact, he previously said in an interview that he lost his virginity at 14 when he...
Listen to this. So you asked if he was, bisexual or gay, which is irrelevant to what he did, of course. But somebody just asked out of curiosity. Listen to this. I think he was straight. Listen to this.
Stole money from his parents to hire a professional lover at 14 years old.
Listen to this. Listen to this.
He explained, quote, "I was just looking at the different Craigslist profiles, and this one was just an booty shot. That's the only thing that was her profile picture, and it had a number. I called her, and some kid that I met at outpatient rehab told me you could do this."
Nowadays, you're absolutely right. Welcome in. You're absolutely right. Nowadays,
that's how I knew how to do it. He had already been to rehab by 14.
But he's 32, so that's 17 years ago. So 17 years ago, I would argue he was probably ahead of the bell curve from what was normal 17 years ago for 14-year-olds. That's just my thinking, but I could be wrong.
Ay, ay, ay. It does make me wonder if his life would have, not even wonder, I know his life
Lisa.
would have been so different.
I just woke up this morning, decided we were doing this. We will be streaming Jack and Lily later today as well. So keep your eyes out for that.
Had substances not been introduced at such a young age.
Yeah.
Nick chatted more about the incident in this podcast, telling the host about the professional lover, quote, I think I was watching Tom and Jerry or something, and I went over to my computer and got this woman's number. I called her up when I was about 14 or something, and her going rate was about $200. This is the part of the story that I don't usually tell, but I'll tell it anyways. I got $200 from my parents. Obviously, he was not forthcoming with his mom and dad about what he needed the money for. I didn't say, hey, look, I'm going to be with a S worker tonight. Do you think you have an extra $200? He just asked for the money. Once he had his hands on the cash, he called this S worker to come to the family home. It was like 1 a.m. She comes over. I didn't know how it worked, so I tried to kiss her. She didn't want that, explains Nick. He adds that she wasn't particularly a good-looking chick, but he committed to the pursuit nonetheless. Quote, I didn't care because I was young and I was like, this is awesome. I lasted 15 seconds. I kind of felt like crap, but I was like, that's awesome. Then I realized I had more money on me and I called her back. She came for a second time. I never asked her name and I never really got into any specifics of anything. But somewhere along the way, when I used to tell this, someone dubbed her as Cherry Red. So that's what I go by as Cherry Red. I ate a enhanced brownie and I was extremely blazed, but I still would have done it if I was sober. The second time I lasted 30 seconds. Nick Reiner went to rehab at least 18 times. 18 times. And his dad thought that his son was finally doing better. In fact, in an interview 3 months ago, Rob Reiner said the following: I was never, ever too busy for Nick. The elder Reiner told NPR while promoting the sequel to This Is Spinal Tap in September. I mean, if anything, I was the other way, you know. I was more hands-on and trying to do whatever I thought I could do to help. I'm sure I made mistakes, and you know, I've talked about that with him since. Rob added that he believed Nick was doing well in this September interview from this year.
Whoops, I forgot I muted myself. That is the saddest part in this. We're in December. Just this September, his dad, Rob Reiner, was said that he thought he was doing much better. That is what's so sad here.
He's been great. Hasn't been doing drugs for over 6 years. He's in a real...
Okay, let's go back. Let's go back and let's go back. We can go back to that one in a minute. Let's go back. Let's see.
Just a suburban turning, very like approaching slowly and turning. Kind of looking like, where's my best interest?
I mean, they're outside, but I don't know if there's anything going on inside. I mean, we're hearing he wasn't fit to attend trial today, but maybe it's a closed camera. I mean, I really don't know. I mean, they're starting an hour late if they are said to be going in. Hold on a second. Was it not 8? Maybe it is 11:30. Time are they supposed to? Somebody said these parents did everything possible to help their son. Yeah, hang on. Let's just go. Maybe it is 11:30 and I'm just got the time mixed up because I was up late watching this last night. Rob or Nick Reiner trial. I'm just trying to find. Expected to make his first court appearance today. I'm just trying to killing his 78-year-old actor and director Rob Reiner and his wife. Hang on. I'm just trying to find it. So sad the parents did everything. I know. I'm just trying to see what time. I thought it was supposed to be 10:30, but you know what? I think it's 11:30. I think you're right. Let's see. I'm just trying to find the time, honey. Okay, so here we're reading at Wednesday's hearing, Reiner may enter a plea deal. A judge may schedule an arraignment for later or the same issue that prevented him from coming to court Tuesday. Okay, so Tuesday was the day. Now I'm getting that they paused. You might be right, Anne. You might be right. I'm just trying to see what the heck is going on. Nick Reiner's trial today, Wednesday. Maybe it's off camera? 44 minutes ago. Okay. It's still uncertain whether Nick Reiner will appear in court Wednesday. Here we go. Let's put this on pause, and then we're going to go back to the Paris Hilton in a second. Because we're not sure. I got 2 feeds, only this mainly and another. See if it goes ahead. Yeah. Let's watch here. We're not sure. They're saying they're still uncertain here. Watch this. KTLA News 5. KTLA 5.
The son of actor and director Rob and Michelle Reiner has now been formally charged in his parents' murders. He could make his first court appearance today. LA County prosecutors say he needs to be cleared medically first. KTLA's Jacqueline Sarkeesian live in downtown LA with more on that. Jacqueline, good morning.
Hi, Frank. Good morning to you as well. That arraignment scheduled for 8:30 this morning, right after this, once the doors open.
So now,
to see if Nick Reiner is on the schedule for today. But you mentioned this. He was expected to make his first court appearance yesterday, but he was not medically cleared. Now, if today's
Okay, so we're not sure if he's going to appear again today. So that's now. So I'm watching in the background. Let's listen to this. It's 2 minutes long, and we'll go back to the live.
Scheduled and goes according to plan. District Attorney Nathan Hochman explains how this morning could play out.
He is going through medical clearance, something that everybody who gets arrested,
I'm sorry,
and gets
Lisa.
held in the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department jail goes through. Once he is medically cleared, he will be brought to court to be arraigned on these charges. At that point, he will enter a plea of guilty or not guilty.
I mean, we also heard he was suicidal and on suicide watch too, right?
Now, we have new video of police arresting Nick Reiner Sunday night near USC just hours after he allegedly killed his parents being Hollywood legend Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle. They were found dead inside their Brentwood home, and now their son, 32-year-old Nick, has officially been charged with with their murders. The arrest happened around 9 o'clock Sunday night. Authorities say he was taken into custody without incident in the Exposition Park area. Now, before that, it's believed Nick made a stop at a gas station across the street. The clerk said he appeared nervous.
You remember the one where the guy tried to choke the judge and jumped over the bench? Do you remember seeing that one? Yeah, we don't need any of that, right?
Purchased a Gatorade at this stop. District Attorney Nathan Hochman says Nick faces the possibility of life in prison without parole or the death penalty if convicted on all counts.
Now, prosecuting these cases involving family members are some of the most challenging and most heart-wrenching cases that this office faces because of the intimate and often brutal nature of the crimes involved. Rob Reiner was a brilliant actor and director, an iconic force in our entertainment industry for decades. His wife, Michelle Singer Reiner, was an equally iconic photographer and producer. Their loss is beyond tragic, and we will commit ourselves to bringing their murderer to justice.
The night before the gruesome discovery, Nick apparently got into a loud argument with his father at Conan O'Brien's Christmas party, a party that others
the night before
reportedly said Nick had been acting very strangely at. Nick's parents then left. It's unclear what Nick did next, but around 4 o'clock Sunday morning, he reportedly checked into a Santa Monica hotel, which was apparently left covered in blood. Back at her live, Nick Reiner is being held without bail. Once again, that arraignment.
So he did leave apparently covered in blood. I wonder if his knapsack had a change of clothes that he dispensed of. I don't know. We're going to hear more, I guess. Clearly.
Scheduled if Nick receives this medical
clearance.
Let's go
see if
he 8:30 this morning.
Okay, so 8:30 Pacific time is now. So let's see if he does. Let's go back to this live. I mean, I don't think so. I just don't know what we're going to get here, Anne. Everybody else? That's enough birth control to last a lifetime. Yeah. Oh, welcome in, everybody. I don't think we're going to get inside, but let's see. It's only 5 minutes past the time court's supposed to. Let's watch this for a minute, and then I got 2 more videos. We're going to finish watching the Paris Hilton one. We just got into it. It's got so much information in it. And then we've got another video. So we have like another hour of videos after this to go through that I want to cover. And we will do Jack and Lily later today as well. I don't know if they're going to go in. I have no idea. We're waiting to see. As we just heard, he was supposed to show up for his arraignment yesterday. He didn't. He wasn't fit. They only have so long before they can. They're in Pacific in California. Yeah, that's what I said. So they're 3 hours behind me. I'm Eastern. So 8:30 is now 11:36. So we're 6 minutes past the time court's supposed to start. So let's see if something happens here. If we get access to it. I'm gonna start looking around a few other channels as well to see if anybody else is covering it. Nick Reiner trial live. Let's just see. Okay, I'm gonna go try another way. Alan Jackson just arrived. Oh, where, Anne? Did I miss it while I was looking? Okay, so if that's the case, then we're going to go into the court. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I truly love you all. You could be anywhere at any time doing something else, and you chose to be here with our phenomenal community. So I just want to say how much I love and appreciate you all for being here. Did I miss it? Did he just walk in and I missed it because I was looking for another stream? Or are you watching it on a different stream, honey? Let me know. Man, if we get to go to court, if this is going to be publicly broadcasted, I definitely want to follow it. as you know, I love Trial Watch because you learn so much about the law and about different issues. You get to learn, so much. And I'm all about education, about the justice system and, true crime. And this is definitely a crime. Maybe not a missing child, but okay, I'm just going to go look again. Oh, now we've got live soon in 20 minutes. Nick Reiner first appearance in LA. Okay. So he is going to be, so we are going to go in. You're welcome, honey bunny. Thank you. Well, I just saw, we just saw coming up. I just found, God, I got so many things open. 71 people are waiting. So we're going to go there soon, or stay here on another channel. So I found it. I told you, be on it. Thank you, Leanne. Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Anne. You're the best. So we're gonna go on. We're gonna stay here, and we're gonna watch. Now we've got 20 minutes, so don't leave because we're gonna go back to the live streaming. But let's keep watching the last 30 minutes at a little bit of a faster speed so we can, if we miss, I don't want to miss this. I don't want to miss the trial. So let's go back for a little bit and watch. I'm just going to mute this in the background here. And let's go back and continue to watch this one. But don't worry, I'm not going to miss it, Anne. I'm here. Love you. I love you too, my dear. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Takes an army. It takes an army. Let's keep watching. Let's keep watching.
Really good place. And maybe there was some truth to that. In fact, a friend of Rob Reiner's just spoke today to the New York Post to talk about staying at the family home back in November of this year. Cinematographer Barry Markowitz is a longtime friend and collaborator of Rob Reiner's and does not live in Los Angeles, but he was heading to LA for the premiere of a new project that he was working on, and Rob invited Barry to stay at his house. Quote, they would say, you're staying here. You're not going to no hotel. There's no fridge, good toilet paper, no family. The cinematographer tells the New York Post. Markowitz joined Rob and Michelle, his wife, and their kids, Nick and Romy, as they went about their days, quote, business as usual. Rob's other son, Jake, was busy elsewhere with work. Barry explains, quote, Romy, her 28-year-old daughter, was in and out of the house, and at dinner she comes over and we all BS together. We would scream at the TV. We watched a movie and a basketball game, played with the dogs. Family time, one big love fest. And as for Nick, Barry says, quote, remember, this is back in November. He looked great. He was sitting and talking with the family. They eat dinner together.
November.
And a lot of love. Always a lot of love.
The
cinematographer said that Nick seemed to be on the upswing, adding that he knows Nick since he was a teenager. Markowitz tells the Post that during this visit, Nick would go out and play tennis or shoot hoops. He was also around and present during dinner time. Quote, he helped out, he took out the garbage, he watched TV, he washed dishes, he'd bring me something to drink. He was just normal in that sense. Is it just the substances? It has to be more than that.
Yeah.
This has to be something that has been leading to this, building up. Markowitz noted that he didn't notice anything strange with family dynamics. They were busy working and doing stuff, he said of the Reiners. The help was there. The secretaries were there, in and out of the house, business as usual. Markowitz described his 5-night stay with the Reiners as being a blast. Quote, I think what's puzzling the most, the 360, is that there was so much love that it doesn't jive. I'm not here to judge anyone. LOVE is the only thing I saw. And I don't think it was fake. They had a real bond. It's just a sickness.
Could be.
The cinematographer friend says of Nick. That's my verdict. Markowitz tells the Post that Rob and Michelle never, ever, ever gave up on Nick during his very public, decades-long struggle with substance abuse. Quote, they gave him everything. They tried a million things with him, not giving him money, but sending him to the top of the line places. Rob never gave up. He tried everything. If you knew Rob, he was just a bundle of love. As for Michelle, his wife, Markowitz described her as a balabusta, using the Yiddish word for an exceptionally skilled homemaker. She was the kingpin and she was the strength. Markowitz also denied that there was any father-son tension on the set of the movie that Rob directed and his son wrote. Markowitz was the cinematographer of that movie, being Charlie. Quote, I cannot remember no tension. We were just having a decent time, all of us, one big family, and there was no fights, he claims.
No fights. Interesting. So, you know, I mean, this is 9 years ago, but it sounds like he could control his anger, right?
Markowitz went on to tell the Post that Rob and Michelle had no reason to think that Nick would ever hurt them. Rob never had fears for his safety, says his friends. I'm not in his head, but we talked. Nick wasn't a violent type. He obviously did not know Nick that well. He adds, I slept in the same house as Nick. There was never a thought, I believe, in Rob's head that Nick was a danger.
I know, Marie.
He would have thought his life was in peril at any point. He would have handled the situation. Okay, this is starting to seem like spin. As I mentioned,
I mean, it is sad. If you're just coming in, I was talking to you all. I don't know if you all know that my uncle had schizophrenia and he ended up committing suicide, but it was triggered by a tragic episode. And that's when I would learn that it can be triggered later in life. But it sounds like he's maybe been ill with this for a long time. From what I understand, it's like there's two types. You're born with markers, or it can be triggered later in life, which was my uncle's case. But it is sad. But in my dad and my uncle's case, their childhood was, the Flowers in the Attic novel. Like, my grandfather was very unwell. He came back from World War II, and was not well in the head at all. And he literally put them in wells, like he locked them in a well for days. Like, it's like literally like Flowers in the Attic was my dad's childhood. And so I can't speak to it around love, but yeah, I mean, it's sad that he didn't have the family upbringing my uncle did. And he had all of the advantages that you would think, with the money to get him into rehab and psychiatrists. And, you would think he had the resources to get well, unlike a lot of other people. And he came from a loving home. So it's very sad.
Earlier today, Nick has already retained somehow a very powerful lawyer, Alan Jackson, who helped get Karen Reed off the hook earlier this year.
Listen,
in fact, Alan,
it's not supposed to do this. This is a YouTube thing. Send YouTube a complaint. Lives are supposed to be commercial free. That's the advantage of a live. So I don't know what to say, honey. I'm so sorry.
Was spotted by the media today outside of the Reiner family home in Brentwood. What was he doing there? Why should the family even talk to Nick's lawyer? This friend of Reiner's continues, saying, when somebody is mentally disturbed, you don't need a reason. There's no rhyme or reason. Mental illness, that's the reason. Markowitz worked on 3 films with Rob and viewed him like a brother, and he is totally broken after losing his friend. And he also considered Michelle a friend too. I can't believe they're not here. I'm looking at the iPad. Everything is Rob Reiner. I started crying. I want to call him up and say, hey, buddy, Rob was like my family. 4 or 5 days later, I'm here in this effing nightmare. And another friend of Rob and Michelle Reiner's is also speaking out, Michelle Obama, saying that she had plans with them on the day they died, were murdered. Michelle, appearing on Kimmel last night, said, "Oh my God, Barack and I have known them for many, many years, and we were supposed to see them that night, and we got the news." Obama's appearance on Kimmel was after Donald Trump had shared his very heartless and cruel words about Rob Reiner's passing. She said, unlike some people, her late friends were decent and courageous.
Well, they were supposed to be.
They are not deranged or crazed. What they have always been are passionate people. In a time when not a lot of courage is going on, they were the kind of people to put their actions behind what they cared about. And they cared about their family. They cared about this country, and they cared about fairness and equity. And that is the truth. I do know them. Another person who knew Nick is speaking out, Rob and Michelle's yoga instructor. And because they were very wealthy, the kind of yoga instructor who would go to the family home to do private lessons. Alana Zabel says that she was their yoga instructor for years when Nick was younger, and that Nick allegedly began being a struggle for his.
We talked about this yesterday, which is why when I learned that he also had an addiction to meth after talking about it with respect to Jack and Lily, and to Daniel's admitted use of meth, which is related to violent tendencies, have anything to do with Jack and Lily's disappearance. And now I learn Nick also had meth. So this is really, for me, a big eye opener on meth, use as well. There's more to this story, clearly, but
parents at an early age. According to the yoga instructor, their son interrupted pretty much all of their yoga sessions at their Brentwood home. She claims the disruptions lasted 20 minutes or so, adding that it was often intense and involved a lot of screaming.
Yeah, it's true. But
eventually,
could
they
be heroin
asked
too.
Michelle to help their son to hopefully calm his nervous system with yoga. She agreed, saying that Nick was this little boy with behavioral issues. He allegedly was always upsetting everyone, but was trying to figure it out. Boys are wild in general, not just Nicky. And so I would always focus on the physicality. Let me teach him how to do a handstand. Let me teach him how to do crow so he can feel the sense of accomplishment in his body. I really focused our sessions on trying to exhaust him so that I could get to that place of connection and mindfulness. However, Alana said that she rarely got there because he was just inexhaustible. She remembered Nick was unusually energetic and even wondered if he had some kind of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, since kids and teens with ADHD are more likely to abuse substances. The yoga instructor added, that kind of energy requires a lot of disarming. But I know a lot of kids who were of that intensity who turned out to be well-adjusted adults. The yoga instructor noted that there are many variables to consider with a child's behavior, including genetic and environmental components.
I've got us on notification when this trial, like you're right, Anne, it's really just an arraignment. It's going to be what he pleads, with Alan Jackson being there, very quick in and out. But we'll go to that as soon as that goes live in about 8 minutes. Okay, so just stay tuned. And then after this is done, I want to show you another video.
There's also the fact that the Reiners live in Hollywood. I have witnessed the children of Hollywood personalities have a really difficult time.
Interesting.
Because they're living in a fantasy world. The parents are prioritizing many things, including them, but there's often a perception of negligence. Then living in a major city where substances are so accessible, you can use the name of someone and it can lead kids down the wrong road if they don't have the right guidance. But don't get it twisted. The yoga instructor insists that Rob and Michelle did absolutely everything they could to help Nick, a sentiment we have heard repeatedly from those who knew the Reiners. Their yoga instructor says the parents handled his problems head on, despite being passionate people with very demanding lives. Alana feels that ultimately Nick chose a negative perception of his circumstances and took on a personal neglect, claiming he had an egocentric mindset. Quote, I really think that he took on a lot of things that he didn't need to. Ultimately, in light of this tragedy, Alana's advice to parents is to make sure that you are present and grounded and giving your children proper attention. It's a miracle I turned out relatively okay because my mom gave me no attention. Maybe that's why I turned out the way I did. Sorry, I needed that moment of levity.
I didn't know that.
Contrary to what the cinematographer said, a stuntman who worked on the Being Charlie movie claims that he did see tension between father and son.
Oh, so he did. Okay.
And I'm inclined.
So now we're seeing, yes, there was tension.
To believe the stuntman, not the friend who stayed at Rob's house last month, whom maybe is working with the new lawyer. Only because I remember yesterday watching an interview where Rob Reiner himself said that he got into some disagreements with his son making this movie, Being Charlie. However, he added that the experience did bring them closer together. Stunt performer Eric Audet says there was a ton of tension between father and son, making it really awkward for everyone else. Eric recalled arriving to set once and discovering that the two were in the middle of an argument in front of the entire cast and crew. Quote, they're just going off on each other. You could tell Nick was spoiled and Rob was just sick of his. Eric recalled the tension in the room, adding, I just assumed whether this is correct or not, this kid must be pushing all his buttons. Rob can't do anything right. He's a Nepo baby, a spoiled kid to the T. Obviously, he loved his son because he's doing this movie for his son, and still, his son was unappreciative. I picked up on all that hostility from just one day on set. Oh, he only worked on the movie just one day? All right, maybe the longtime friend and frequent collaborator knows more. Speaking of longtime friends and collaborators, Mandy Patinkin, whom many of us know not just from Broadway, but for his iconic role in The Princess Bride, says of that film's director, how do we process this unthinkable tragedy? Loss after loss after loss. What is happening to our world? What is happening to our human race? I can't breathe, but I'm breathing. I'm howling at the gods every moment. Then I talk to a friend or myself and quiet down, and I realize the gods are not to blame. The tsunami of tragedy is the responsibility of human beings. Looking back on The Princess Bride, Mandy says, when we were filming the scene in The Princess Bride where Inigo kills the six-fingered man and says, I want my father back, you SOB. Take after take after take, Rob kept asking me to do less, do less, do less. In my sleepless nights, I realized he wanted less anger from me to allow my broken heart to be felt. In the past, Patinkin revealed that his own father passed away just a few years before filming The Princess Bride, so that heartbreak he was feeling was very real. This is what Rob helped him lock in on during filming, and it's stuck with Patinkin ever since. The Criminal Minds star says that we're
going to go live for a second inside the courtroom, so stay tuned.
Using his friend's memory to remind himself to keep fighting. Now I'm hearing his voice tell us all to do more, do more. Do more to repair the human soul, to repair our hearts, to repair our country, to repair our world, to never give up, to keep fighting, to keep living for every soul taken from this earth that no longer has the life and breath, to raise their voices for a better world. We must raise our voices for them. Follow Rob's example. Let Rob Reiner's actions guide you. I don't believe we ever recover from such cumulative loss, but I am certain it teaches us to live with a greater purpose, to cherish every moment.
It's Paris Hilton. That's just the way he is.
That we are alive, to be of service to every aspect of our existence, to never give up. When we're feeling lost, say to ourselves, what would Rob do? And then do it. Do it for Rob. Do it for all of us. Now, a different family friend is also speaking to the media, but they are choosing to remain anonymous. They reveal to the Daily Mail that there was some sort of fight on Thanksgiving weekend. This family friend claims to have known Rob for over 50 years. Quote, I don't know if it was Friday or Saturday of Thanksgiving weekend, but Michelle was really bothered by that, this alleged fight. She said that it was really bad between Rob and Nick, and it was the same around and round that they always had. They were constantly butting heads.
Yeah.
Rob was friends with everyone and the nicest guy in the room, says his longtime friend. He wore his heart on his sleeve, along with Michelle, so it pained them immensely that the wonderful life they had was with its cracks, and those cracks were from Nick and his substance abuse and mental illness issues. That said, the parents maintained a positive outlook when navigating their son's challenges. You'd never know it, says the friend, as they dealt with it with as much grace as possible and never burdened their friends with it, just occasionally saying they were looking to get him help. They would think of anything they could do to help Nick, and once things seemed to be working, something would change and they would be at square one all over again. It was a revolving circle that they couldn't get out of.
It's sad. I mean, it sounds like they really, really tried. Yeah, make yourself a sandwich. Thanks, Hope. Okay, news is, what'd you say? News, Zodi's appearing for murdering son. Okay, we're going to go to the live right now. Let's go to the live right now. We can come and finish this. This is almost done anyways, but we can come and finish this in a second. Let's go to, let's go. Whoops. Oh, Leanne. Come on, Leanne. I had it. Oh my God, Leanne. Hang on, for the love of God. I had it, and then oh, Leanne. Who am I looking for? Not Paris Hilton. Okay, hang on. I had it. For the love of God. Too many friggin' things open. Okay, it doesn't really matter where we are. Let's try Associated Press. I don't know if we're going to get inside. I don't know if we're going to get inside. YouTubers. Okay, thanks. No, I just get frustrated with myself. There's so many tabs open when I'm trying to do these things. I want the house in your background, Leanne. Yeah, no kidding, eh? I know, no kidding. I'm just trying to see if there's anybody covering it inside. I'm just trying to find others. I mean, everybody is just doing the same. Everybody is showing the same outdoor stream. I mean, we may not get inside. I'm just looking for anybody. I don't think we're going to be. I don't know if it's going to go inside the courtroom. It doesn't. I mean, we only was supposed to start 4 minutes ago, so we'll be a little bit more. Okay, I'm just going to get some of the heat turned down here. I'm getting hot. Open the window. I'll be. We're going to go back to Paris Hilton here for a little bit because I'm not sure we're actually going to get inside the courthouse. So we're almost done this. So let's keep watching for a second here.
Another longtime family friend, Jane Fonda, shares Rob and Michelle were wonderful, caring, smart, funny, generous people, always coming up with ideas for how to make the world better, kinder. They had been helping me launch the committee for the First Amendment. I saw them the night before last, the night before they died, looking healthy and happy. I am reeling with grief. stunned. And now we hear again directly from Nick Reiner. In an interview, he once explained how fame influenced him into a rebellious, angry space. But he said that he still felt lucky to have his parents.
So it's only 8 minutes after noon. So in probably half an hour to 45 an hour, we're going to hear Alan Jackson probably, or see him leaving the courtroom. But yes, if they're inside taking notes, because then some of the media will hopefully be allowed inside the courtroom, we'll get some reports thereafter, which will be around 4 here.
2 Chairs and a Microphone podcast, host Paul Mercurio brought up the movie Charlie, which we've discussed, the semi-autobiographical film about the young man with substance abuse struggles and butting heads with his family. So Nick discusses the movie and how he felt lucky to have a dad and mom who cared about him so much. I think I'm lucky in the sense that I have parents that care about me. Because of that, when I would go out and do things like substances and stuff like that, I'd feel a tremendous amount of guilt. Something tells me he doesn't feel any guilt about what he did now. He is an empty zombie now. I'd think, he added, they're thinking about me right now. They want me to do good. Some people don't have parents that have any interest in them, said Nick Reiner. What Nick shared really touched Rob. In fact, Rob Reiner himself said, quote, what he just said really got me, which is that deep down, he trusted that we loved him and that we were there for him. I think that's where we made the mistake. We didn't trust that he had that in him. Well, sadly, we know now what he had in him. Murder. In the same interview, Nick shared how growing up in a famous family led him down a rebellious, angry, substance abuse addicted path. Quote, I don't think this is any different than most people going through their teenage years, but I think that I had no identity and I had no passions. I had a famous dad and a famous grandpa, and that fame sort of informs who you are. So I wanted to etch out my own identity with a more rebellious, angry, drug-addicted sort of persona. In the interview, Nick went on to say there was a level of self-medication with his substance abuse. Quote, there was a level of doing something radical and doing something to get outside of myself and comfort zone. He also felt being in and out of rehab made him feel less alone. Nick Reiner added, there's other people out here that suffer from addiction and they're willing to talk about it. That's why I think we did this movie, because we feel it's important to be upfront about this sort of stuff. And making the film was not a smooth process. Both Rob and Nick admitted to tension between them while making the film. Rob added, I told him many times he's the heart and soul of the film, and he would have better insights as to what the main character was experiencing than I would. I would defer to him. Also on Kimmel last night, if you missed it, the host himself put his nemesis, Donald Trump, on blast for his comments about Rob Reiner and his murder. Kimmel shares, what we need in a time like this, besides common sense when it comes to pew-pews and mental health care, is compassion and leadership. We did not get that from our president because he has none of it to give. Instead, we got a fool rambling about nonsense. We got a brief moment of respect for our friends in Australia. We got a brief moment of condolence followed by things happen for students at Brown. And for Rob and Michelle Reiner, we got this. Jimmy went on to read Trump's disturbing post about Rob and Michelle's death before calling it hateful and vile. Just when you think he can't go any lower, he somehow finds a way to do that. His description of what happened, of course, is not at all what happened. This is exactly what I spoke about before. This rush to pin the tail on the donkey in pursuit of the Trump-friendly narrative, not to mention blaming his death on the fact that he is an outspoken liberal, insulting someone who's just been murdered, who leaves children behind without having any idea of what actually happened. It's so hateful and vile. The comedian recalled that when his wife, Molly, showed him Trump's post, he didn't think it was real. How wrong he was. Jimmy continued, even for him, that seemed like too much. But nothing is ever too much for him. That corroded brain is in charge of our lives. If you voted for that, it's okay to reconsider. It's perfectly fine. Due to his own experiences with Rob Reiner, Jimmy said he knows the director would want us all to keep calling out Trump's atrocities, and he plans to do so. Quote, I will say, I know from my personal interactions with Rob Reiner that he would want us to keep pointing out the loathsome atrocities that continue to ooze out of this sick and irresponsible man's mouth. And so we're going to do that over and over again until the rest of us wake up. I don't think they will, Jimmy. I don't think they will. And as I shared with you all yesterday, after Mr. Kirk's offing, Rob Reiner expressed so much sympathy and remorse and sadness. The opposite of what Donald Trump did when Rob Reiner had his throat slashed violently. And one of the glimmers of light that we've seen in the last few days, just the last 2.5 days, is remembering Rob Reiner not just for being a wonderful actor and director, but also for his advocacy work. Did you know that Rob co-founded the American Foundation for Equal Rights, the nonprofit famous for sponsoring the fight against Prop 8 in California, which led to the 2010 trial, which preceded Obergefell versus Hodges? Basically, Rob Reiner played an integral part in helping to legalize same-sex marriage. And as a result, the Human Rights Campaign, an LGBT advocacy group, has released a statement about Rob Reiner. They say, an unapologetic ally through and through. May you and Michelle rest in power. The Human Rights Campaign shared some videos of Rob speaking at some of their events. And I think I don't even know what I think right now. This reminds me of Liam Payne's passing and just the tsunami of news and update and sadness and
It is. It's very sad. It's very sad. Okay, I've got multiple lives on. Let's try Fox here. I got multiple lives going. I mean, we're still outside. Let's wait and see what we get. See what we get for comments. I want to watch one more video. I think you're right. I think we're going to get some sort of a update, you know?
No, I don't have to.
Mic check 1 2
Test
1
1 2
2 1 2 10 9 8 7 6.
Test 1 2. Test 1 2 3. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2 3. Mic check. Testing 1 2 3. Testing. Testing 1 2 3. Mic check.
I don't know, boys and girls. We're waiting, Ann. We're waiting, honey. Everybody, not just Ann, but thank you, Ann, for. I think you're right. I think any minute, Alan Jackson, it's 12:20. He was seen going in, and you reported into the courthouse. It was said that it was going to start at noon, so we should be expecting a statement from Alan Jackson coming out of the courthouse momentarily. I think it's going to be extremely brief. It's going to be extremely brief. And then I do have another video I want to show you after this. And then we are going to go live with Jack and Lily. We are going to go live with Jack and Lily later. I'm almost done my book. I'll be finishing and completing it today, which means then we can start doing 2 streams a day, which is what I want to do so we can get this channel built up. So if you're new here, do all the YouTube things. I'd appreciate it. I really, really would. It's really sad. It's really sad. I'm going to wait a few more minutes, and then we're going to keep this going on in the background. And we'll start the next video. If we don't, we'll give it, another 5 minutes or so. But yeah, Alan Jackson, I would suspect with all the cameras there. I mean, the news media are pretty in the know. Alan Jackson likes the camera. He's not shy with the camera. So I suspect you're right. He probably will come out and make a statement. At the very least, we'll get journalistic notes.
Hey, beautiful people.
Yes, beautiful people. Good morning, beautiful people. How are my beautiful people? I know. I'm sorry if YouTube's being weird. I don't know what to say. Try being a creator with YouTube. That's all I'll say. Sometimes very frustrating. I know, Krista. I know. I mean, I guess it would depend on what's going on. Is he going to plead guilty? Does California have the death penalty? has the death penalty, but executions are halted by the 2019 memoranda by Governor Newsom. And yeah, we covered this in the Harrow case, right? No, thank you. I don't even remember what that was. My question was, Krista. I'm sorry. See, multitasking is not my... They do, but it's been halted. Oh. With Newsom. So I don't know. Like, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Alan Jackson's one of the most epic lawyers, I believe, ever after watching the Karen Reid trial. He's covered many famous people's trials, or not many, but he's known to work with celebrities. So we'll see what he comes up with. Maybe they're going to plead guilty here. I don't really know. For a lesser charge. Oh! I don't know if I asked you that. Did I? Oh, okay. Got it. Yeah. In reference to my statement. Yes. Got it. Thank you. It's okay. I'll be here eventually. Ugh. Sad. Really sad. How did that happen? Maybe. Yeah. Really? I don't know the country singer Alan Jackson. I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna show you something else. We're gonna stay listening to this in the background because I don't want to miss it. But let's just listen to this for a little bit, for a second, while we're waiting. Let's listen to Brian Enton just while we're waiting, and I'm gonna keep an eye on it. Don't worry.
And kind of go through all of the new developments here. I've been out here all day long, and then also we were at the courthouse earlier today in downtown Los Angeles, which is where I'm going to start. First of all, we thought that there was going to be a court hearing for Nick Reiner, Rob Reiner's son, at 8:30 this morning in downtown Los Angeles. So all the media was there. Alan Jackson, who is the lawyer who has now been hired to defend Nick Reiner, which I'll get into him a little bit more in a second, he was there. And we were all ready for this 8:30 hearing just to see Nick Reiner officially charged with murdering his parents. And right before it was supposed to start, we were told that the hearing would not be happening, which came as a surprise, I think, to everybody out there. And it turns out that Nick Reiner was not medically cleared to leave the jail and go to the courthouse, which came as a surprise to people who were out there. You remember yesterday, TMZ was reporting that Nick Reiner was under suicide watch at the jail. It's unclear if that has anything to do with him not being medically cleared to go out to his court hearing this morning. But outside of the courthouse, his attorney, Alan Jackson, spoke to us. He, by the way, is a famous attorney, obviously represented Harvey Weinstein, represented Karen Reid most recently in Massachusetts, represented Kevin Spacey. I mean, the list goes on and on. He's an expensive, high-profile attorney. And by the way, a lot of people are asking how Nick Reiner can afford such an expensive attorney right now, which I'm going to get to a little bit later in this episode. But first, I want to just play you what Alan Jackson had to say about why this hearing that we all thought was going to happen this morning with Nick Reiner ended up not happening. Listen to what he said outside.
Every inmate has to be medically cleared before they can be transported to court. He has not been medically cleared. It's just a procedural issue. I have not received any filing, and I don't believe the court has received any filing at this point. We'll be back day to day. The bailiff has indicated that the sheriff's department will take it on a day-by-day basis, and so hopefully he'll be cleared tomorrow, and we can get him here.
So the hearing did not happen this morning. We know that Nick Reiner is being charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. The district attorney here, Nathan Hockman, had a press conference this afternoon.
Alan Jackson.
He spoke out for the first time since the murders.
Hang on, Alan Jackson.
Obviously, try to protect.
Is there? Let's go and watch. Alan Jackson is giving a update. Let's go watch. I'm just going to back it up for a second here. Let's watch.
Good morning, the fallen. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I just have a couple of quick words. First of all, and most importantly, this is a devastating tragedy that has befallen the Reiner family. We all recognize that. Our hearts go out to the entire Reiner family. There are very, very complex and serious issues that are associated with this case. These need to be thoroughly but very carefully dealt with and examined and looked at and analyzed. We ask that during this process, you allow the system to move forward in the way that it was designed to move forward, not with a rush to judgment, not with jumping to conclusions, but with restraint and with dignity and with the respect that this system and this process deserves and that the family deserves. So with that, we are set for January 7th for an arraignment. That's
January 7th.
And that's all I have to say at this point.
Wow.
Maybe more at some other point, but today we're going to rest on where we stand procedurally, which is this was a continuance of an arraignment. Nothing happened today substantively. We'll be back for an arraignment in the same department on the 7th of January. We'll see you then.
Wow. January 7th, a continuance of an arraignment. Well, that was not expected. That's like a long way off, right? Let's see if anybody else is going live with commentary here on what could be going on. January 7th. I mean, this just happened. So January 7th. That's interesting.
You got it?
I want to see if somebody's going to comment. Well, we all after the holidays. Yeah, he said, Happy New Year. Could be. It could be that he's detoxing, which if you're detoxing, I would expect you're going to need time from an addiction like that, right? Plus he's on suicide watch. So they've just ended this live.
And Fox News alert, police releasing new surveillance video showing the person of interest.
Okay, so that was it. That was it. Let's just see if there's another. I got a couple of lives going. Let's just see if someone else is talking. No. Okay, so everybody's ended their live. So that was it. January 7th, you know? A lot of people waiting outside the courtroom for Associated Press. Let's just see. No, they ended too. So everybody's done the lives. Sounds like it makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, he has to have time to detox and get on meds. Yeah, absolutely. So let's go finish. Let's go finish Brian Ettins. reporting. Okay, let's go watch
the
this.
case and everything, but did say that they will be charging Nick Reiner with first-degree murder, 2 counts of first-degree murder, and when the question of the death penalty came up, he said they have not made a decision on the death penalty yet, which I thought was kind of interesting. There were also questions about Nick Reiner's
death penalty
history of mental health issues and whether that will be a big part of it.
So, excuse me, my goodness. Apparently, the death penalty is being considered. That's interesting.
He just said that it'll come out at future hearings, and he didn't want to discuss any of that. So it was kind of a little bit of a non-eventful press conference, besides the fact that we know the official charges, which aren't a big surprise, are going to be first-degree murder with special circumstances because a knife was used, and that this hearing may, we think, happen now tomorrow. It's supposed to happen today. We think it'll happen tomorrow. In terms of what's been happening here at the House, there's been more activity today at the House than what we saw yesterday. Yesterday, we basically saw Jackson showed up here to the House and actually went inside through the front gates, which was kind of interesting. He didn't have a police escort from what I could tell, but he went inside. I don't know if he was picking something up or if he just wanted to see the scene of the murder, but he was inside for, I would say, maybe 30 minutes or so and then left. And then a couple of other times today, there were other groups of people who came and went from the House and went inside. So there's a little more action here outside the House today. Also, a lot of you have been asking me about this hotel in Santa Monica, where there are reports that Nick Reiner went after he murdered his parents. And one thing we still don't know is the timeline here of what time they were actually murdered and when he went to this hotel. But I was outside the hotel today in Santa Monica. This is some video that I got outside the hotel. According to TMZ, there was a trail of blood left behind in the hotel.
No,
he checked
I
into
don't
the
see
Santa
it.
Monica hotel early Sunday morning, and that there's all
I don't
sorts
see
of
it.
blood.
If you have a link, send it.
Spatter that, or just blood that was found. And I'm going to talk to my guest in a minute about that, where there'll be some more detail.
Where?
TMZ reports that he checked into the pier side Santa Monica around 4 a.m. Sunday, used his credit card.
Jesus. Where?
His check-in came hours after he got into a heated argument, you remember, with his dad at the Conan O'Brien Christmas party.
Where, Anne? I'm trying to find it. I'm still trying to find it. I'm trying to find it. Oh, so he was taken into custody on an unknown felony charge. I'm still looking for Alan. I'm still looking for Alan Jackson. Let's watch this for a second.
While the tributes to Rob Reiner from across Hollywood have been glowing, US President Donald Trump has chosen instead to criticize him the day after his apparent homicide. In a Truth Social post in the last hour, Mr. Trump refers to Reiner as a once very talented director and claims that it was, quote, Trump derangement syndrome that led to his death. Mr. Rob Reiner was actually an outspoken Democrat and famously did not support the U.S. president. I want to bring in White House reporter Elena Treen. I mean, obviously, we know that Donald Trump can be irreverent, to say the least, but just the timing of this, the fact that you have an iconic and beloved Hollywood director and actor found likely murdered in his home, and this is how the U.S. president responds. What's been the reaction to that, Elena?
Yeah, it's a very incendiary message from the president, Zane. And just to get into a little bit more of what he said, he seemed to argue that the death of both Reiner, but also his wife Michelle, stemmed from what he called was Trump derangement
I
syndrome.
just don't
Of course,
see
we are
him
still learning all the
outside,
facts
so
in
I'm
this
trying to
case,
find
and,
it.
the most recent news is that this couple's son has
He's
been
in
taken
hospital
into
ward at the
custody. Look,
jail.
Reiner was a longtime Trump critic. He once called the president mentally unfit for office. He was someone who was a very big and famous Democratic fundraiser. And today we've seen messages from several high-profile Democrats, from the former
I don't understand how I can't find it. Like I'm searching for it literally.
President
So
Barack Obama,
I don't get
to,
it.
The former Vice President Kamala
Brian.
Harris, to the former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, all of them sharing messages of adoration, but also sadness upon his passing. But we also have heard a lot of criticism in response to what Trump posted this morning in response to all of this. One of them being from his own Republican colleague, although I should note this is someone he butts heads with often, a Republican Congressman Thomas
Thanks,
Massie of
Krista.
Kentucky. He came out today saying that regardless of what your opinion is of the Reiners, of Rob Reiner specifically, regardless of any relationship or lack thereof that they have had previously, this type of message, he said, should be condemned by Republicans across the board. And Massie actually called on his fellow Republicans to come out and criticize the president's response to the death of the Reiner.
Sources are telling CNN tragic new details tonight about the deaths of legendary Hollywood director Rob Reiner and his wife, producer Michelle Singer Reiner. One source tells CNN the couple's daughter, Romy, discovered her parents dead at their home in Los Angeles yesterday afternoon.
Thank you.
Within hours, the couple's 32-year-old son, Nick Reiner, was arrested and booked on suspicion of murder. Authorities have yet to offer details on how the Reiners died, but a new statement from the LAPD says Nick Reiner was responsible for his parents' deaths. A source familiar with the incident also tells CNN that Nick was seen having an argument with his father at a holiday party Saturday night at comedian Conan O'Brien's home. His mother also attended that party. Tributes continue to pour in tonight for Rob Reiner, whose prolific genre-defined work includes The Princess Bride and When Harry Met Sally, also A Few Good Men, and This Is Spinal Tap. My source tonight is CNN's Alex Michelson. Alex, tell us what your sources are telling you about where this investigation stands tonight.
Well, the case will be officially handed over to the district attorney tomorrow, and then it will be up for the district attorney to go forward with those potential murder charges. It is such a sad thing to think about, especially what this must have been like for that daughter to arrive to her parents' home, first day of Hanukkah, and then make the discovery around 3:30 in the afternoon that her parents in that condition.
Okay, I'm gonna go back because I thought this was gonna have this is a 4-hour live, and I really don't want to go into a 4-hour live. So let's go back and finish Brian Etten. And if you guys want me to cover this again, we will. But at this point, we are not going to see. We're not going to see anything until January 7th. And I guess we'll learn more at that point, right? We'll learn more at that point. So let's just watch this.
So did he leave the Christmas party immediately and go and kill his parents and then go to the hotel and still had blood and stuff on him? That's possible. But again, we don't know the exact timeline. We just know that he did check into that hotel. And according to TMZ eyewitnesses who saw Nick check in, say he seemed tweaked out, but there were no visible signs that he had been in a violent confrontation, and that there were no blood stains or cuts on his actual body. And the reservation, according to TMZ, was just made for one day. So it'll be interesting when we get the timeline here, but some of those puzzle pieces are...
So he only booked himself into the hotel after murdering his parents for one day. No
starting
cut.
To come
no cut marks
together now. So did you know that your personal data is being harvested and sold online by data brokers? Literally any promo code investigates. I want to go to my interview now with Maureen O'Connell. You guys saw her yesterday.
Whoops, why does my banners
She is a retired FBI agent, but she was right in the area, right in the neighborhood. She was out here pretty soon after the stabbings happened, and she has some new information today. I wanted to talk to her about all the new developments, and then she also has some new information to share. And you'll see in this interview, it's kind of interesting. I wasn't planning it, but while we were doing the interview, more people actually showed up to the house. So you'll see I decided to just leave the whole thing in, so it gets kind of like a little chaotic and weird for a second, but I wanted you guys to see what happened out here at the house. All right, take a look at this. First of all, Maureen, Nick Reiner was, we'd already been in court this morning. We were all there. The attorney Alan Jackson was there, but he wasn't there. They said something about medical clearance. I was thinking of the TMZ report yesterday that he may be on suicide watch. Do you think those are connected? Like, what does that mean that he wasn't there?
I personally thought the suicide watch thing was just the first salvo that's saying we're going to do a defense that says he's not fit for trial. But he does have a right as a defendant to have that medical check. If he asks for medical attention, they're going to give it to him in the jail system here. So
this is an ex-FBI agent who lives in the neighborhood, and Brian Enton interviewed her, which we saw earlier when Ashley showcased it. So she's got some insight legally as to what's possibly going on, and she's right. He has the right to a full defense, and if he's coming off meth and has mental health issues, then absolutely he deserves the right, regardless of what we think about what he did. Everybody's presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law, right?
That's what I think.
What do you think about Alan Jackson being the attorney?
Well, Alan Jackson,
expensive, right? I mean,
he's very, very expensive, and obviously, I think Nick's worth a lot of money. But whatever assets he has, one would expect them to be split amongst the siblings. But I would also say that it would also be my presumption, but this is, just my opinion. I would also say that they probably have a trust, a really good one, maybe an irrevocable trust, and he may have a trust even from his grandfather, which would be separate and apart from anything else. So, does he have a great deal of assets? I would say he probably does have a pretty good amount of assets, but he lives at this house. He may try to, most defendants will try to leverage the property that they own, but if he owns this house, he owns it with his siblings. So there will be some back and forth, I would guess, when it comes to that.
We knew that it was a stabbing yesterday, but officially today the DA said that in the press conference.
Yeah.
Do you think they have the murder weapon?
They may have the murder weapon. All the reporting today is that he went to a hotel in Santa Monica, and they found blood on the sheets and blood in the room. So God only knows, what else they found. Who are these people coming down the street?
Oh, I don't know. Let's show this.
Yeah,
We
show
can
this.
yeah.
I didn't want you to miss it.
Yeah. So this, I don't.
Who's that girl?
know exactly. The woman has come a couple of times before. Let's just about look what's happening. The woman has come a couple of times before, and I assume maybe it was one of Alan Jackson's employees.
Oh, there's a police officer.
And there's a police officer there too. Yeah, interesting. Well, he's recording, so let's just keep. What do you think about the fact that there's a police officer? Also, what does that mean?
I don't know.
Do you think it's
Here's the police too.
And there's more police now coming.
All right,
Because they came earlier. They came earlier, and they came without the police and went in. But now the fact that there's also a detective.
Who came without the police? That lady?
Yeah, that lady's been in there once before. He's still recording. But let's just pick it. Okay, let's just pick it up if that's okay. Sorry.
Turn this off.
So I think I asked you, do you think that we'll keep an eye on what's going on in the house, but do you think that they have the murder weapon?
I have no idea if they do, but they'll have a good idea where to look. They know what, they know he went from this location to the Santa Monica hotel. If he was going to throw something out, who knows? He could have thrown it out in the trash can right out in front of the hotel in Santa Monica. Or he could have thrown it out in the room in Santa Monica. But I don't know that he seems like he'd be a much smarter guy than that. We'll see. I mean, the thing about the press conference and everything we've seen, if you consider for a moment going all the way back to that CEO murder by that Mangione guy, ever since that time, it seems that every law enforcement entity around has really put the clamps down on any information that they put out to the public. And they do that because they just are tired of all the courtroom drama and everything being challenged for every reason, and this burgeoning conspiracy theory world.
Well, she went into that yesterday. She's a retired FBI agent who lives in the community and knows somebody that Brian Enton knows. And she was saying that yesterday, that this is such a high profile case. They're going to be extra cautious to be careful what they say, because they do not want to risk anything by staying stating things that could hurt them publicly.
We're living in right now. It's just too much. So they're really keeping everything super close to the vest.
Thank you, Sketchy. Thank you, honey. Thank you. Thank you, sweetie. God bless you too, honey.
Because they said
Thank
there's
you.
blood all over the room.
Yeah. He
went to
left
go
here
hide
and
out
went,
there?
he went to take a shower. He had to get out of Dodge. He wasn't going to stay here. But it also shows that he was aware of what he did. It also shows that he's cognizant that what he did was wrong and he needed to create distance between him and the crime. So he goes to a nearby hotel.
Yep.
He gets in the hotel. He wants to take a shower. He looks in the mirror. He's a mess. And all that blood evidence is going to be fantastic. And it's going to be great for the prosecution, I would say, because that blood evidence likely will be his blood as well as the blood of his parents.
Wasn't there another high-profile son who killed a parent recently?
Yes.
Like an opera singer, right?
Yes. There was a man, I have his name here. If you can.
It was close by, wasn't it? It was like
Yes, his name was Jubilant Sykes. That was it. I knew the last name was Sykes. And he was a fantastic opera singer. He lived in Santa Monica. His son was approximately the same age and had a very similar history. Jubilant's son was in and out of rehab for a long time. Many suspect he had some mental health issues. And here he was in the home with his father, who he had issues with, very similar to what we have here. And he
Sad.
stabbed his father to death. And neighbors called the police. And if it weren't for that, who knows, maybe his mother could also have been attacked or injured or even killed. So the parallels between the two here in Santa Monica or there in Santa Monica has been, people have been pulling it up online or talking about it quite a bit online. So there's, they're drawing parallels between the two cases. There's really no way that Nick would not have heard of this case, I don't think. But this is obviously a decades-long struggle in this home here.
I mean, that's sad. If he's from the area and he heard about that case locally, similar to his situation, was that in the back of his mind? Was that a trigger, inspiration for him? I mean, who knows?
I'm just trying to think.
It's really sad.
The defense. What do you think the defense? I guess the mental health is going to come in.
It's going to be the incapacitation. They're going to say he wasn't aware of what he was doing. But I'll tell you, the fact that he fled from here, went to a hotel, took a shower, tried to clean everything up, and then left there and went over by USC, 17 miles from there. That says he knew what he was doing was wrong. And again, he had to create distance between him and the crime that he knew he committed.
Does it surprise you that we see people going in and out of the house now? I mean, would police want to keep it locked down, or is it just?
Well, once law enforcement releases the scene back to whomever, the family has taken possession back of the house, and they hired a security company, and the security is present and out in front. We can see them here. But once they do that, you can let anyone in. I mean, you're back to where you were before, I guess.
Yeah, interesting. Anything else that stands out to you today?
I can't think of anything right now.
I think we kind of covered everything.
Yeah.
Well, thank you as always.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
Of course, I appreciate Maureen
That's
for talking with me again and getting her insight. And it's interesting what she said about who could be paying for Alan Jackson, the high-profile attorney. It's kind of interesting to think about, and just the family dynamic of everything that's happening right now. Just super, super sad. I mean, here in the neighborhood again today, it's just been sad. People walking their dogs by the house, and so many people knew the Reiners and are still coming to terms with what happened. And there's now, word out that the Reiners are supposed to have dinner with the Obamas the night that they were killed. And it's just sad story all around. I mentioned, though, that DA Nathan Hochman, the district attorney, spoke for the first time.
After this, we're going to end this live in about 14 minutes, and then I'm going to do Jack and Lily shortly, a live on Jack and Lily. So stay tuned for that.
About the charges, and there were some little tidbits in there that came out. Nothing, earth-shattering, which doesn't surprise me. Normally with a criminal case like this, they're not going to give away a lot of information, especially the DA. But the DA spoke and the police chief also spoke, and I wanted to play you guys the highlights from that.
My name is Nathan Hochman. I'm the district attorney of Los Angeles County. Today, I'm here to announce that our office will be filing charges against Nick Reiner, who was accused of killing his parents, actor-director Rob Reiner, and photographer-producer Michelle Singer Reiner. These charges will be 2 counts of first-degree murder with a special circumstance of multiple murders. He also faces a special allegation that he personally used a dangerous and deadly weapon, that being a knife. These charges carry a maximum sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole, or the death penalty. No decision at this point has been made with respect to the death penalty.
Wow. Could be what Alan Jackson's waiting for too, right?
We have requested, and currently Nick Reiner is being held without bail. Now, in announcing these charges, I also want to announce that they're just that. They are charges. Charges are not evidence. Evidence is something that we will be presenting in a court of law to meet the standard of proof we meet in every criminal case, which is beyond a reasonable doubt, to 12 jurors who will unanimously have to find that we've met that standard to prove the charges we bring to court. Right now, with respect to the process, once the charges get filed this afternoon, Nick Reiner will be then brought to court. He is going through medical clearance, something that everybody who gets arrested and gets held in the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department jail goes through. Once he is medically cleared, he will be brought to court to be arraigned on these charges. At that point, he will enter a plea of guilty or not guilty.
Which we just heard by Alan Jackson has been deferred and delayed till January 7th, 2026, after the holidays.
Now, prosecuting these cases involving family members are some of the most challenging and most hard.
If I had to guess, I would say his parents would want him to get treatment. But that's not going to likely be the outcome now.
Heart-wrenching cases that this office faces because of the intimate and often brutal nature.
I know,
of the
Golden
crimes
Blood
involved.
Angel. I know.
Rob Reiner was a brilliant actor.
I actually am about to release a small little ebook about, it's called Survive, for empaths that are having a hard time because this world is truly dark at the moment. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. That will be launched on Amazon tomorrow.
And director, an iconic force in our entertainment industry for decades. His wife, Michelle Singer Reiner, was an equally iconic photographer and producer.
Yeah.
Their loss is beyond tragic, and we will commit ourselves to bringing their murderer to justice. I want to thank LAPD Chief McDonald, who is here today, along with Deputy Chief Alan Hamilton from the LAPD and LAPD Captain Scott Williams and the entire Robbery Homicide Division, who literally has been working around the clock to gather the evidence that has led to the charges we're going to be filing today. Also from my office, I have Assistant District Attorney Maria Ramirez. I have Director of Specialized Prosecutions, John McKinney. I have our Head Deputy of Major Crimes, Craig Hum. And I have the two prosecutors who will be leading the prosecution in this case, Assistant Head Deputy of Major Crimes, Habib Balian, and Deputy District Attorney for Major Crimes, Jonathan Chung. They will bring their decades of experience to holding this murderer accountable for his actions. At this point, again, you will hear in the media rumors, you will hear speculation, you will hear hearsay. What I'm asking everyone to do is to rely on trusted sources. If it doesn't come from the District Attorney's office, from LAPD, from the coroner's office, or from the courtroom itself, then there's a good chance you are hearing misinformation. Because at the appropriate time, the actual evidence involved in this case will be presented in a court of law. So I ask for your patience.
No kidding,
until
eh,
that is
Krista?
done.
No kidding.
But again, please do not rely on rank speculation, rumor, or hearsay to believe that you understand anything about what went on in this case. I'd now like to turn it over to Chief McDonald.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you all for being here today. And it's with deep sadness that I address the tragic loss of Robert and Michelle Reiner. On December 14th, 2025, LAPD officers from our West Los Angeles division responded to a death investigation at the 200 block of South Chadbourne Avenue, which is in the Brentwood section of Los Angeles. Upon entering the residence, they discovered the bodies of Mr. and Mrs. Reiner. Detectives from our Robbery Homicide Division Homicide Special Section immediately initiated a comprehensive investigation. The evidence gathered led to the arrest of their son, Nick Reiner, who was taken into custody later that night without incident in the Exposition Park section of our city. Today, the Los Angeles County District...
Apparently, Expedition Park is more downtown and is more well known for drug purchases. And so was that what he was doing down that way? I mean, it's really hard to say.
Attorney's office has formally filed charges against Mr. Reiner for the murder of his parents. This case is heartbreaking and deeply personal, not only for the Reiner family and their loved ones, but for our entire city. We extend our deepest condolences to all of those who were affected by this tragedy. I want to take a moment to recognize and thank our criminal justice partners, the District Attorney's Office led by DA Hochman, and everyone who worked tirelessly on this investigation. Their swift action, professionalism, and commitment to justice have been instrumental in bringing clarity and accountability to this case. The LAPD remains steadfast in our mission to protect life and uphold justice. We will continue to support the Reiner family and ensure that every step forward is taken with care, dignity, and resolve. Thank you.
We'll now take some questions.
Chief, a question for you.
That's right here in the front.
Could you talk about why you feel this case rises to special circumstances?
So special circumstances is a situation where one of the enumerated factors that lead to elevating in some ways a first-degree murder case to a special circumstance, a first-degree murder case occurs. One of those special circumstances is called multiple murders. Here we have two, and it qualifies under the definition of multiple murders to allege the special circumstance in this particular case.
Chief, how was Nick Reiner found, and was there any evidence on him indicating a crime, and did he say anything?
Yeah, he was found with good, solid police work, investigative tools used by robbery, homicide, and gang and narcotic division detectives with the U.S. Marshal Service Task Force involved as well. So we're thankful for the work that was done. I won't go into talking about what was found or anything that could potentially taint the investigation.
Chief, one quick follow-up question here, sir. Given Nick's history of drug use, was there any indication that he was under the influence at the time of this crime?
No, thank you again. That's another question I can't touch.
What evidence of mental illness in his background?
I'm sorry, please repeat the question.
Is there any evidence of mental illness in his background beyond the addiction?
The evidence, any evidence, if there is any, of mental illness for his background will be coming out in the hearings that will occur. We anticipate, again, after the arraignment, the process will go through the normal process a case like this goes through. At the appropriate time, if there is evidence of mental illness, it will be presented in court.
I think right now they've delayed it to January 7th because he's on suicide watch. He's likely detoxing. They have yet to announce whether they're going to go for the death penalty. And probably Alan Jackson needs to know all that and needs to know his client needs to be not on suicide watch and not still on meth withdrawals before he can attend court, right? But it's a complex case because we don't even know, and they don't even know yet if they're going to pursue the death penalty.
And in whatever detail the defense seeks to do that. Yes, right here.
Are you anticipating any kind of significant delay in bringing this case to trial on the basis perhaps that they may have to undergo significant psychological evaluation, which would also give your people what they need in the way of background for what might describe why his actions happened the way they did?
We don't anticipate any significant delay more than is involved in a first-degree murder case with special circumstances. These are some of the most serious charges that a DA's office can bring against anyone. And we anticipate that the discovery that we will produce to the defense will be robust. It will be very involved. They'll want adequate time to review it. Again, they'll want to go through every single factor that they can ascertain in the defense of Mr. Nick Reiner. So again, this will proceed along the tracks that many of the first-degree murder cases proceed. Do I anticipate it being particularly fast? No, I anticipate it being very thorough.
Well, can you tell us about cause of death?
Yes, right.
Cause of death and time of death. Can you share any information about that?
We are not at this time.
Did other members of the Reiner family help with your...
Well, we already know that apparently, because people have reported that he was stabbed, they were stabbed to death, their throats were slashed. So yeah,
investigation so far,
pretty brutal.
Did they provide any information or assistance which led to Nick being arrested?
I'm going to defer to the chief on this.
Hi, Deputy Chief Allen, Chief of Detectives. We don't have any specific information we're going to release at this time regarding the family's information they provided. As we move forward, that information will be discussed in the appropriate venue, which will be the court.
Sorry for the chief. Can you talk anything more about just not the condition that Nick was in when he was arrested? Was he a resident? Was he walking around? Was he observed by people in the neighborhood? Like anything else you can tell us about the nature of it?
So specifically, he was arrested in a public area, in the Exposition Park area near the University of Southern California campus. He was approached by the officers and he was arrested without incident. There were no indications that he was going to resist or anything like that. He didn't flee or anything like that. He was taken into custody without issue. And
and he was transported to our police headquarters facility.
Take a question back there. Yes. He has been alleged. One of these special allegations is that the murder was committed with a deadly weapon or a knife.
The gentleman, the police officer to the right, the Asian man, it looked like he nodded his head no to that answer.
As to where and how the weapon will.
Just going to go back and just see, but it looks like he nodded no to that. Let's just watch that.
Take a question back there. Yes.
Murder weapon found?
He has been alleged.
No. See that? He nodded no.
These special allegations is that the murder was committed with a deadly weapon or a knife. As to where and how.
Yeah, 100%, Krista.
The weapon was located or will be located. That will actually be evidence we'll present in court.
Two more questions.
Let me take a question over here.
Timeline of when you think the murders occurred, because now we know that there was an altercation on Saturday night at a party. Do we know that Saturday night or Sunday morning?
I'll defer to the chief on this one.
I'm sorry, we don't have that kind of specificity yet. We're waiting the coroner to be able to try and determine as best they can at this point in time of death.
Can you say who the victims were? Who called 911? Mr. Hoffman, can I?
We'll take the question back there.
Yes. Can you tell us who called 911?
Chief.
Okay, so in terms of how the Los Angeles Police Department became aware, it was a request from the Los Angeles Fire Department who responded to the scene first. We responded to their request for assistance at the scene of the incident. Our initial West LA officers that responded determined that a crime had occurred, and they immediately notified our robbery homicide division. They responded, and they have taken over the investigation since that point.
Thank you, everybody. One more question. I'll take it right here.
You're hesitant to talk about sensitive evidence, but based on the evidence collected to support these charges, did that include an admission by the defendant to the alleged crime?
So any statements made by the defendant at any point in time would be the type of evidence we will be presenting in court. Can you take one last question right here?
Sorry, I have a question.
Hold on one second. I just identified this gentleman.
Oh, I thought you were pointing at me.
Sorry.
We have an estimated time for completion of the autopsy and the information coming from the medical examiner in your office.
I mean, it's not even the same direction, ma'am, but okay.
We do not have the estimated time that it will take. We know that they are working on it expeditiously, but as to when they deliver it, we do not have that estimated time. I'll take that one last question.
I was just wondering, I know these types of cases are especially difficult. How much do you take into account what the family wants when it comes to charges?
I guess she was sitting closer to him. He looked like he was looking more to his right.
You're dealing with a domestic situation like that, and does that factor into whether you will go after life of parole or possibly death penalty?
In these cases, like any of these cases, we will take the thoughts and desires of the family into consideration in making our decision. Thank you all very much.
All right, so that was the
Okay, they're going to take the thoughts and family into consideration. Do you think the family's going to want the death penalty? I'm going to say hell to the no on that. No.
The press conference that happened today. So that's really the latest. We'll see if there is now going to be a hearing tomorrow for Nick Reiner, since that didn't happen today, if he's medically cleared. I'll stay on top of that.
We know now it's going to be January 7th.
Again, I've been outside the house all day, just kind of keeping track of what's going on, keeping track of the latest developments. I'm actually going to, I think tomorrow, go travel to Rhode Island, just because things I think are kind of settling down here now. But I'm really interested in this story with the gunman still on the loose, the Brown University.
Okay, everybody, listen, I appreciate you all. Love you all for being here. Thank you for being here. I'm going to go eat. I haven't eaten yet today. And I'm going to be back for Jack and Lily. So stay tuned, do all the notification things. Love you for being here. Appreciate you for being here for this last minute decision to go live on this story. And we will see you for Jack and Lily shortly. Thank you. Love and light.